in the chop shop. Till your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based to debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30. Let's do a first take on Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Carter Ray, Skip Bayless, and Stephen Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal to the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you write your will. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket, put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, he see me as I beat him. Step into the court, I'm never backing down. Killing competition, I'm smacking down. Let me get back to the other stuff at the chop shop, cause they cutting up. It's retro, coming to you live to the chop shop. Now let's turn it up. Yeah, we in the chop shop, man. Shout out to Jim Hicks and Rob Hatter. You can catch the chop shop live from 12 to 2 on Facebook Live. Let's get it. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop.
H-Town, what's up? You know what time it is. It's time for the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks, coming to you live from Houston, Texas, but we're broadcasting all over the world via Facebook Live and YouTube Live, respectively. It's going to be a great Monday. Let me tell you something. Let's have a shout out to Jessica Brooks, Todd Holmes, Rick Brown, and Derek Johnson, and Rod Wells. Those were the first 5 people that signed on to the show today. And I'm telling you, this is going to be an epic show. You need to share and like and do all your stuff now so we can get that out the way. But Jimmy, I got thanks to everybody who sent me birthday wishes over the weekend. I had a great time. Let me tell you something, y'all. It couldn't have went no better. Great time. I'll tell you a little bit more about it, but thank you so much to everybody who sent me birthday wishes, Jimmy, over the weekend. But let me tell you something. You had a big event.
You got drunken and Cuter Brown over there, didn't you?
Huh?
You got full of that hooch this weekend, didn't you? You drunk you some of that old Granny Clampett juice, didn't you? I know you did.
Jimmy, I couldn't. I was out trying to. I'm in the market for a mini yacht, a jump boat. I'm in the market. So,
hey man, black folk call it a canoe.
But guess what? I'm in the market, so I'm going test driving and test riding them, like every other week, and out there just watching the climate. I got some stuff coming up in the future, y'all. And I'm gonna let y'all be a part of it. Y'all get the chance to come and experience the water a little bit with me. But that's not. I mean, I ain't gonna go there, Jimmy. Quit messing with me. But I just want everybody to remember tomorrow you vote in the primaries. But think of it as a practice for November. Get your voting finger ready. I just want to get your practice right. And I was watching a golf tournament this weekend. The American Century golf tournament in Tahoe, one that I participated in before I was a caddy for Charles Woodson a few years back, Jimmy, if you know. But I refused to go this year because it was different. Just with the COVID, the guys had an option of riding a cart by themselves or bringing a caddy. So I wasn't gonna go anyway. But tonight, I want you to check out the Golf Channel and I think NBC SN tonight at 7 p.m. They're going to have a race and sports in America conversation tonight. It's going to be a great, great conversation, man. A lot of the players, you had Steph Curry, Kyle Rudolph, is the white player that I saw in it. Charles Barkley, Troy Mullins, the women's long drive champion, James Blake, the tennis player who got police brutality. The police just jacked him up in New York. He was sitting in front of his hotel waiting on an Uber during the U.S. Open. Anthony Lynn, I saw him. It's from the tidbits I saw, it's a great, great thing. So I think y'all need to check that out. Jimmy, I looked into, they talking about Congressman John Lewis. His name deserved to be on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. I got the number. Everybody, I'm going to post it later. Call the governor. 334, Jimmy, if you can write it down, 334-242-7100. Call the governor of Alabama and tell her about the name change. We need all hands on deck.
Give me the number again.
334-242-7100. We need all hands on deck. You do not need to live in Alabama to make some noise. I'm just letting you know that. The mayor has offered up a few things in the city of Houston that we need to adhere to get us in a better situation. Jimmy, it's just so much stuff. Then, Jimmy, you know, I usually don't watch TV, the talk shows, before we come on the air because I don't want their opinions to be mine. But somebody kept texting me and calling me over and over and over again, said, man, you got to watch. John Calipari was on First Take this morning. And Jimmy, now I see why they wanted me on. Him and a lot of other coaches have started this program called, I don't know if you know it, Jimmy, called Minority Leaders Org. Minority Leaders Org. It's the John McClendon Minority Leadership Initiative. Jimmy, is not just about athletes. They said Calipari is one of the lead coaches. He said we're going to give these colleges, different colleges, money, us coaches, to create a position to have a black person, to hire a minority person in positions so they can learn how to be ADs and learn how to be administrators, learn how to be the people hire the minority coaches, Jimmy. And Cal is getting sponsors. Wherever school you are, they're getting sponsors. It's going to be about 70 applicants. So get your applications in. It's called minorityleaders.org. Jimmy, let me tell you, this is not about creating basketball coaching positions, Jimmy. Let me repeat that. This is not about creating a basketball coaching position. You don't even have to be an athlete. You just got to be a person with a leadership mindset. You got to be what they're trying to do is develop the next wave of leaders and decision makers, Jimmy. And you got to be a post-grad. You want to be an athletic director. Coaches, let me see. He said coaches are funding this thing right now. And Jimmy, the coach is going to have all the coaches. He said he got 200 coaches. He said he started out with 50. He got 200 coaches involved. They're going to fund this thing first. And they're going to commit to 4 years. Then he said they're going to look at the data and make adjustments according to. And Jimmy, he said something key on the air this morning. He said his one regret is why he didn't do this 10 years ago. Because he realized that black young men and their families are the reason him and his family and his family's going to be able to be successful. So he's got to figure out a way to help give back. And he also said, Jimmy, he know for a fact that HBCUs hasn't been treated fairly by the NCAA, especially doing those what's that API, whatever that the API. What you call it, Jimmy? What's the
APR.
The APR situation. So those are the things that I had to just round it and get that off my chest this morning. But Jimmy, I know you got a lot of stuff. You had a big weekend this weekend. What's going on? We got we got special guests. We got basketball. You said royalty. We got basketball royalty. Come on a little later also. So Jimmy, what you got going on?
Yeah, we got first news. We got breaking news as expected. Houston Rocket Russell Westbrook has tested positive for COVID-19. So that explains. Remember, he nor James Harden were on the team plane last week when they flew out to Orlando. And remember, on the Chop Shop is the only way you got this. I hinted at a source, a very good source, had I guess dropped something in our bucket.
But Jim, that was
And
a month. That was a month and a half ago.
No, I'm talking about James Harden.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but so can you catch it twice? Can you not catch it twice?
No, I'm just saying. I mean,
but at that time, but understand, James Harden, not to this day, has come out and said, "Yo, I had the package."
I know a couple of people. I know a few more haven't said they got it either.
Oh, that's a lot. I'm just saying, but Russell Westbrook owned it because of I don't understand. If somehow this thing is being made to feel like you're embarrassed if you have tested positive for COVID, I guess the terminology, the wordplay may need to change with people, because it sounds kind of like I tested positive, kind of like the HIV. I tested positive. Hell, you're not embarrassed to tell a person you got a cold. Hey man, let's go hang out. No, man, I got the cold, man. Oh man, I got this flu, man. It's coming down with something.
It's just not that easy for everybody, man. It's just not that easy.
But I think the narrative, because it really, because there's so many questions come behind it, it doesn't affect everybody's body the same. Yes, we know that. And if speaking of that topic, if you missed Thursday's show with Marcus Ebo, he was a high school coach in Houston, is a high school coach in Houston, and also volunteer grassroots coach with John Lucas Enterprises, that youth JO3 youth program. He came on and gave a testimony. He's only a few days removed from being hospitalized, and thought he was going to die at one point in there. And that is a powerful testimony. After the show, the Houston Hoops, of course, had shut all of their grassroots teams down about 2 weeks ago. There was still a team of parents from within one of the Houston Hoops 15U. The parents said, to hell, and we're going to put our own team in, and we're going to play under this name. The name of the team was DOYA. You know what that stands for, Hal?
What, man?
Dead on your ass. That's what the name of the team was. Dead on your ass. Capital D. And so they were going to play Clyde Jackson. This is his group. So I'm a true story. After Thursday's show, I'm quite sure your phone, my phone, and certainly Marcus Ebo's phone was blowing off the hinges. I mean, snot was slinging everywhere, and so all of a sudden I answer the phone, and it's Clyde. He said, "Man, my parents, 2 or 3 of my parents saw that conversation from Ebo, and they said they're not letting their kids out the house this weekend. They're not playing nowhere." I said, "Clyde, I have no problem with that. No problem with it. I understand. Man, we wanted to play. I understand that, Clyde. That's the parents. They have the right to not do that. That's the thing. It just, so they're exercising their right. Clyde, you don't own those parents. None of you guys, as some grassroots coaches, you don't own those kids. Your name ain't on their birth certificates. And sometimes many of you guys may think that it is, because nobody makes you invest into the kids under the demise of thinking that you're giving. Remember, I guess it's that time for this sermon again. We got to do this thing every damn year. The difference between giving and investing. Are you giving your time, or are you investing your time? That's a sermon coming up.
What if you do a little? What if you do just a little both? What if you're doing a little bit both? What if you're giving your time and then you figure out, wow, I'm giving too much time. This should be an investment. Because a wise man told me, Jimmy, long time ago, I was on a golf course, I think somewhere in Palm Springs, and I was playing golf, and I was just telling this man, man, how I love golf and how I'm consumed. Older white man, and he just told me, he said, "Hey son, don't spend a lot of time doing something you can't feed your family doing." That's when I stopped playing golf so much. Because guess what? I was not feeding my family playing golf. I was just enjoying golf, and I was playing it a lot. That's why I got so good. I listened to those words, and guess what? It benefited my life. Begin. I can enjoy golf now, but it's not just crazy. I'm not going out in 120-degree weather and play anymore like I used to when I did. So, but I understand. I understand that, Jimmy. That I mean, you just when you know better, you'll do better. And I was surprised at people that came out, because you know me how I felt and what I figured out. And I told people who called me, I said, let me tell you something. You cannot get mad at an event operator. Let's get this straight. He gonna open his doors. You don't have to take your happy behind up in there. Excuse me, Lord, I almost got. You don't have to take your butt there. They didn't make you go in there and stand in line and get your. They didn't make you. I talked to some people. I went. Well, my son didn't play, but you went. I said, so you went. So if it was whatever was in that building, you got it. So, but what I done found out, you people just don't, Jimmy. I'm out. Listen, in case people don't understand, I'm out minding my business out on the lake, out on the yacht. I'm pulling up to the dock so I can get on the boat. Jimmy, it was a party boat. Pull up. All white party. I got a video of it. A party boat pulls up. They in there getting it. Jimmy, hold on. Nobody had a mask on. Nobody. Even the operators, I don't think they had a mask on. And hold up, Jimmy.
What color was it? What color was it?
They seem like I'm going to go and tell you. I looked at the license plates in the car because I waited on them to get off the boat. I looked at the license plates on the majority of the cars. Jimmy, they came from Louisiana, Jimmy. Everybody had Louisiana plates on. Everybody. The lot was full of Louisiana plates, Jimmy.
Well, I know what color they was then.
Okay.
So because they came from Louisiana and they was white, it'd have been Louisiana trucks. You said Louisiana cars, it was black folk.
Louisiana cars. Yeah,
all
they
my
was
kin
black
folk.
folk. Let me help you out. They look like me. So, but Jimmy, what I found unique, ladies and gentlemen, when they got off the boat and were going to the car, I'm sitting in, my people saying, well, you so nosy. I'm sitting in it. See, Jimmy done got me. I'm part of the media now. I done transfer. I'm sitting in the parking lot, Jimmy, like this. Jimmy, they put their mask on to come to the parking lot to get in the car. So they had their mask on in the car and not on the boat where they dancing and twerking all on each other. Derek Johnson, Kimberly Jackson, Walter Yates. Jimmy, and y'all explain this to me. I guess it was the birthday girl. Everybody had on white. It was one girl had on red. So I guess it was her birthday. Okay. But I never, ever, and I hope one of them are looking and listening. But Jimmy, that's how uninformed we are about this thing. They had their mask. But when they were close up together, they didn't have the mask on. When they was walking back to the cars separately, they had their mask on. I didn't understand it.
Adam, two questions. Do you think there were drinks being consumed in that party?
It's a 110% chance there was some drinks because I saw the coolers pulled off.
Well, understand this then.
Okay.
So it's think about the difficulty, the degree of difficulty. Mm-hmm. Put your mask on, take it off, take a sip, hold it back, put your mask. That's too much. That's too much. After a while, you just gonna.
Well, okay. Excuse me, sir. Okay, since you're gonna give them that excuse, well, just leave the mask all the way off. Why you put it on? Oh, because you're not drinking no more? You can put it on in the parking lot and go get in your car and put it on?
Well, that makes some people that may make them feel like they've been consciously aware on that aspect. But that doesn't make them, understand. That's the reason. That's not an excuse.
God.
The reason is that's like at the bars. In restaurants.
I wouldn't have never came up with that excuse.
Remember, the rule is no shirt, no shoes, no mask, no entry.
Service.
So a lot of the businesses nowadays, especially in Texas.
Right.
Well, that means all you have to do is have the mask on when you enter the premises, the building. Now, they know once you get in there, there's no requirement to keep that mask on.
Oh,
now,
see, I haven't been to a restaurant, Jimmy, since.
I've been to several of them.
Okay.
So there is no requirement to once you get in. You know. Now the thing is they have to be most restaurants, and most have been in compliance with they like remove some tables out. That way the tables are kind of the optics has to be there. I mean at the bar, you know they have two seats two seats maybe next to each other here, but another two seats maybe 6 feet away at the bar or 8 feet away or whatever they want to do it. Who's measuring? But it's enough distance to where it's out of arm's reach, as opposed to bars, chairs all around the bar. So I mean, now mind you, my stance is simple, and for those who care, those whom are concerned to the highest degree, then you guys need to stay your ass at home, because there are a lot of people in the streets that don't care nowhere near as much as you may.
I promise you they don't.
So guess what? Those people, and I'm not talking about just black folk, especially the white folks. They've had rallies to prove to you guys that how much they do not care. So let's not even get to them. But do you think those people stand at home? Hell no. So therefore, if you really care about the well-being of your family, and in accordance to the COVID-19 or this pandemic, then stay at home. If you come out and it's raining outside, you possibly gonna increase your odds of getting wet unless you have an umbrella. Well, that umbrella is your mask. So that's how you look at it. Hey, got other news, Al. I would feel remiss if I did not bring up a shout out across the water, across the pond to our guy, little Joe Young. Joe Young hit 74 points. No, let me say it the chop shop way. 74 points.
No, man, tell it that's your way. 74 points.
Last night, in one game, 48 minutes. Joe Young is doing just what he needs to do to get the attention to get back in. Remember, he confessed. And one thing I like about Joe, me and Halle, we both talked to him. We had him on the chop shop, and we called him to the fire. Say, Joe, remember last summer, the Lakers brought you in. The Lakers brought you in. You'd have been that guy right now. Rondo gone, Avery Bradley gone. You'd have been that guy. They had to go get J.R. Smith.
Jimmy, I heard some stuff about that. Jimmy, listen to me, y'all. Young people who blessed enough to have their butt in that NBA. And Jimmy, we're going to take a quick break after this. Shut your mouth, Jimmy. It was some people in the NBA offices wanted to send him away from the bubble after what he posted on social media. It's some old veterans and some coaches vouch for that guy. Listen to me, y'all. I'm serious about this. They were getting ready to escort him and his bags to the front of Disney and drop his ass off. I'm telling you, Jimmy, it came that close by him, because guess what they told me? Robert, they barely wanted him in the league. And we vouched for him to get back in. We don't need no bad publicity about this thing, man. The thing is bad enough. Dude, they was hot at that dude, man. It was unbelievable. But Jimmy, we got to take a quick break because I know we got a lot of stuff to come back to. I'm just trying to see which one. You know what? I'll go. Jimmy, I saw this the other day. We might, Facebook might be mad at us, but I saw these little girls and I just fell in love with them. Chop Shop, we'll be back in a minute. Welcome back to the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks. Jim, I know you got a lot, man. I'm just gonna add stuff every now and then. Whatever you got. What else you got? What else you got, man? What we want to talk about now?
You go to the football side of the fence. Wednesday is the deadline for Dak Prescott
Okay.
and the Cowboys, and hopefully things will turn out all right for Dak, for Dak's sake, for running this thing on so long.
Jim, Dak got $31 million this year, Jim, and guess what? And if they franchise him next year, it's gonna go up. It's gonna be almost 35, 36, 25% increase, right? Next year. Then if they do it one more time, it's a 25% more increase. So just like Kirk Cousins got all that money at one time, I know you don't want to take those risks like that, but they gave him $31 million. The franchise tag on him was $31 million. So guess what? Zach, all right, Jimmy. All he got to do is take care of that $31 million. You take care of that $31 million, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. So I just wanted to add that when it's no woe is me. You know, everybody, woe is me. They ain't taking care of that. Let me tell you something, Jimmy. I think, and I'm not sure. I just don't understand what you know. Have you noticed, Jimmy? They haven't really publicized what is the sticking point with Dak's contract. They haven't publicized it. They haven't said, you know, it's been speculation about the number of years. There's been speculations about the length of the deal. They have never, Jimmy, they have never talked about a guaranteed figure. They have notice. Go look through all your work. They have never talked about how much money he'll get guaranteed. Something just don't smell right with this one. And then maybe Jerry Jones just waiting till the last moment. I don't know. Something don't smell right. Something don't smell right with this one.
Well, and let's go. Let's
you got some more breaking news?
And we the break got us. We apologize.
You got some more breaking news?
And we love the boom boom room. I got breaking news coming for you guys as well.
Come on.
Shout out to Yvette Machete. I see you, Yvette, up there.
Hey, baby.
You know, our girl from Minnesota up in the chop shop. But here's the thing. Last segment, we jumped too fast. Yes, the break got us. And let's go on and finish to Joe Young. Somebody asked Darryl Bourne, what did Joe Young confess to us to when we talked to him on the chop shop?
My bad.
Joseph Young confessed that he got an opportunity to go in the Lakers for summer camp summer league in Vegas last year, and he stunk it up, and he was in shooting guard mode, and they were auditioning him to be the facilitator to be a facilitator. They were auditioning him to come in and run the offense and to be able to distribute. He thought they were coming in there. He was going to resume his Indiana Pacer role during his little stint there. So he did, and that's part of the growing pains that people have to sometimes go through when you're advancing through opportunities especially in the NBA. So that's what he confessed to. He gets it now, and he said, so now, and you understand, guys, if you ever run into Joe Young, he might have some tan hair, some brown hair, might have some, kids with them tight pants and tight clothes sometimes. But at the same time, he opened his mouth. He gets it. He gets it, man. He gets it. Remember, his dad played in the league.
Yeah.
Michael Young, 5 Slammer Jammer. Boston Celtics for a little couple of years. Then played overseas for about 10, 12 years. Back then, when Michael Young played overseas, he was making like $700,000. That was a lick. Back in the 80s, late 80s, that is. Early 90s, something like that. So that's what he confessed to, guys. Now, the breaking news is University of Texas has agreed to some of the demands that were requested, or the demands that were placed on the table by a lot of the blacks on campus. Remember now, it started with some of the athletes, and then quickly the fraternities jumped in. Then the student organizations jumped in, and fighting for, I guess, for diversity, inclusion, and equity. And so, here's what the UT has announced that they're going to do. They're going to rename. First, they're going to build. Remember that the first black football player they wanted the stadium to be named after him. I think the stadium is named, I think it's Darrell Royal was the original. I think that's the name of the stadium, if I'm not mistaken. But they want the first black football player, the football stadium, to be renamed after him. Well, what the UT has agreed to do, meet them halfway. They're going to build this guy a statue and rename the football stadium and the practice field after Earl Campbell, and Ricky Williams. Weed smokers unite. Right.
Jimmy,
now,
excuse me, Jimmy. Weed is legal now, so weed smokers unite. It's legal now.
You go walk your ass down the middle of that campus in Austin with one of them.
No. I'm talking about it's legal in the United States, so that means it's legal. Okay, that's all. That's all.
Now, but guess what they're not gonna do? They say, look, we'll give you that, but your ass ain't gonna touch our song. Now, you gonna leave our song alone. So that song, The Eyes of Texas, that's gonna stay the same. So now all you guys as in the boom boom room, who wins? Is that a good? Is that progress? I say yes. Absolutely. That's good progress. I mean, understand, it shows that galvanizing together. Think about it. I said fraternities. I didn't say Qs. I didn't say Kappas. I didn't say Sigmas. Separately, they galvanize their collective powers for a common goal and got results produced within a month. These young people, this generation that's coming up, this is the most important generation, probably of the last century, is this generation coming up. That includes all of your kids who's playing grassroots basketball. They're in that generation. You see what can happen, guys, when you galvanize, when you mobilize, when you organize. Shout out to Alfio. Alfio is a proud UT alum, played football for the Longhorns. He's in the boom boom room in our Facebook feed. And you know, we're streaming live right now, YouTube and Facebook simultaneously. So
did you say all of the fraternities got together, right?
No, not necessarily all of them, but most of them.
Okay. But you know what I thought about, Jimmy? I was thinking about something. I was listening to something the other day, and I am really understanding that we don't get what we need a lot because we're so divided against ourselves. Anything we want, we can get in Houston, in the United States. There is nobody in America that can deny 40 million black people if we just get together. You can bring corporate America to their knees, y'all. You can change you can change TV programs. You can change the way that we're represented in the media. You can do anything if only Willie Lynch wasn't the master of our house. And I know some people talking about that ain't nothing. Let me tell you something. I'm talking about this system. It's this system that's devised to keep us divided. We just can't agree on nothing. And they understood that if we are divided, Jimmy, and it'll just decimate our power. If we can, it's not, let me tell y'all something. It's not white people keeping us out of power. It's our ignorance and unwillingness to reconcile the differences between us. There's some powerful black people around here in this city. They won't reconcile. They probably can and come together as a family and leverage our unity to get anything from America that we want. We just got to understand we can leverage. Let me tell you something. Everybody is not going to agree with you. Let me repeat that. Everybody is not going to agree with you. But we in this cancel culture, if they don't agree with me, I'm not going to hear what they got to say. No, You can hear it. You can always hear it, but don't be quick to cancel people so quickly. I'm seeing a lot of that in the news now. Jimmy, they even got your homeboy. Your homeboy got caught up. Woj. Your Woj. They done got your homeboy Woj caught up. Woj must have got caught in the moment. Check this out. Woj been hanging around, I don't know, Jamel Hill and them or something too much. And he got caught in the moment and told the U.S. Congressman in a documented email, hey, Jimmy, I don't know if people ever watch me. When y'all get to talking on group text or send me a group text, if you notice, or you text me some, if you notice how bland my answers are, they're for a reason, because I don't want you to screen whatever I say to you. I want you to be able to screenshot it to anybody. Whatever I say on text, screenshot it. I'm going to repeat it again. So Jimmy Woj told the man, F you, man. And they suspended it. Woj can't go to the bubble. Rosen got, I'm talking about Adrian Wojnarowski. He, the NBA insider who get the Woj bombs, who always getting the tweets and always getting the news. He, to people who don't know, I'm sorry. I got caught up. He, some senator from Missouri. Let's vote him out. Y'all Google it for me. I can't do all the work. Some senator from Missouri, a congressman from Missouri, was talking about the Black Lives Matter, ain't the ESPN doing too much, the NBA doing too much, and bending over backwards for these players, to letting the players put whatever they want on their back. Y'all didn't do that. Hold up. Y'all didn't do that for Hong Kong. Y'all didn't do that. Y'all had to shut up when it came. Oh, he got to talking all that stuff. So Woj sent him an email back and said, F you, and got in trouble for it. So y'all can go look it up a little bit. That I just gave y'all the abridged a version of it, abbreviated version of it, and you can go find the rest of it. But Jimmy, we're gonna have to take a break. You take us into a break.
Yeah, and we up against the break. And shout out. And one thing about it, I mean, I'm always proud of when movements get results, and I'm really proud for the University of Texas and the progress they made, especially now when you hear on the heels of even more accusations of racism coming out of Texas A&M. That's like the third time in a month. And once again, parents are going, you try to make exclusion or exemptions for certain situations. But the bottom line is the bottom line. You're sending your baby to that environment. Well, man, you don't understand. This coach, still, you sending your baby to that environment. Whereas it's commonplace. You guys better pay attention. Pay attention.
Jimmy.
We're going to quick break, come back, and we're going to talk a little grassroots basketball next segment.
All right.
Recap some of the stuff happened that I saw in the gym. And guess what, Aldo? We know we got PGWs.
What up?
We got CGWs after this past weekend. I'll tell you guys all about that. Okay. One coach got put dead on his ass.
No.
After his team lost.
Uh-oh. Chop. We'll be back in a minute.
2017-2018 year, I was at Orange Lutheran, and my coach, Coach Edward Smith, approached me about going to Howard University, or just taking a look at it and considering a HBCU seriously. But at the time, I was busy with the season, and I told my coach, once the season's over, I'll take a look at it. So after that, I took a look at Howard University and just HBCUs in general, and what I realized was Howard's rich university. It's culture, it's history. You got senators of, Thurgood Marshall, you got Elijah Cummings, Kamala Harris, and some of my, favorite actors, Anthony Anderson and Chad Boswick. And looking at that situation, I was like, okay, that was enough information to let me just get on campus and take a visit. What I've done, I didn't realize it because I thought it was unknown for people to go to HBCUs. It's crazy to know that in 40 years, a 5-star recruit hasn't been to a HBCU, but I definitely think it's going to generate a lot of wealth towards our people. It's the players that make the TV exposure. It's the players that make these deals, but going here is definitely something for top recruits to definitely consider seriously. Going to HBCU. When I was on campus, I was kind of stunned. It was during a homecoming weekend, and everything just kicked in.
Okay, guys. Now, I just came from the park, and it's this kid teasing me because I have felines on. Now, mind you, I am not a material person. I just wear felines because, I like the color, and I think they're cool. They might not be what's popular today, but, that's what I like. So, I told the kid, it's not about what I have on my feet, it's about what I have inside my head. No matter what I'm wearing, no matter what I have on, it's about my information, the knowledgeable things in life. These sneakers are not even going to fit you in 20 years from now. So it's about what you have in your mind, your wisdom, your knowledge, the power to inspire others. And parents, please don't raise your children like the materialistic type, because once they don't have Jordans on or cool clothes, they're going to feel like they're not important. They're going to feel like they need the golden or the Jordans or the cool stuff, the popular stuff, to make them feel important.
Welcome back to the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks. And this portion of the show, Jimmy, we're going to talk. Let's get right into the grassroots basketball scene this weekend. I wasn't blessed enough to go because I was COVID practicing. I was practicing Corona safe distances, and I was doing some birthday stuff, so I didn't make it. But I heard, boy, my phone was ringing. My phone was ringing. What was going on over there, man, this weekend?
Oh man, it's over at the gym and Legacy, the School of Sports Science, and shout out to Kerry Brown, the Brown family, put it like that, and as well as Danielle Canada and PJ Kuznard, Chad Ware, and the rest of the staff over there for being great hosts. And Rick Nelson, as you guys know, his event was Elite 32. You guys remember last week the GMI got canceled. I had put the schedule together. So that was my motor. Rick Nelson has a car. He asked, he wanted to know if he can use my motor. So yes, and so Rick Nelson is an ally. We're doing the camps, the Sophomore Exposure Camp is going to be starting on Wednesday unless they shut the city down this afternoon in Houston. But it was great because I wasn't going to allow Rick Nelson to fail with my motor in the car. So, but it was Rick's event, and I was glad that one thing I was glad about that it wasn't a trick involved, whereas Rick was say he was going to run the event, then try to look at me to run the event. And I'm glad that didn't happen because I didn't want to be in that position at all. I went there, I evaluated a lot of games. I watched a few games. Doug Jones was there, and
Jeffrey Day was there. Jeffrey Day. That's how I got a lot of my information from Jeffrey Day with
Jeffrey.
Ball So
indeed.
Hard. Ball So Hard. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeffrey Day was there watching. And you guys understand, it was a lot of the teams showed up. And this is one of the first times I've done plenty. Well, not say my motor. That's Rick Nelson's event, his car. That's the first time that I've ever seen an event whereas that put together in that time span. Remember now, this event was put together, Elite 36, in 72 hours. Really 48 hours. There was not one no-show. Hell, not one team that was on the schedule did not show up. Everybody showed up. Every team showed up. On Sunday, you had one forfeit, but it really wasn't a forfeit because they called in advance. The Houston Defenders saw a team from Louisiana. Team from Louisiana lost to another team, and Aaron Harrison said, well, man, we're not going to waste our time on this team. We'd rather get rested and sleep extra 2 hours. We'll be there for that Coos game. So we replaced that team with another team. So it was no forfeit. But for us players on day one, of course, the Houston Hoops, as I mentioned earlier about Clyde Jackson and his organization was putting together a team, but they ended up pulling out because out of respect to the safety concerns. Well, there was another team from within the Houston Hoops umbrella that did place a team in, and they played and lived up to the hype for the most part. The father of Damari Jones, not Damari Jones, Damari Williams, right? His father organized a group of kids from the Houston Hoops, primarily. Now, they had a couple other kids on the team that did not play with the Hoops, but it was a Houston Hoops saturated base team. At least 5-6 players of the Houston Hoops team played together. So under the name Superstars, not to be confused with the John Urey program, Houston Superstar. They just called themselves Superstars because they already had uniforms that they wore, Superstars Elite. Well, this team on Friday night, they played Coos Elite. I mean, it was an electric atmosphere and went to overtime. Whereas, young fella from St. John's, Brian Gordon, hit a lefty. Rising senior hit a game-winning three-pointer to propel that team. A lot of kids played well throughout the event. A lot of teams had moments. One of my, I guess if you ask me, coming out of the event, some of my afterthoughts, basically it is, Alan. Class of 2021, JVL Francis played with the Houston Raptors, Nettie. A lot of kids that played with other teams. And so people saying, well, do you really call it moonlighting if you're supposed to play with another team, but that team has yet to play a single game this summer, and you are rising seniors? That means you're never going to suit up with that team ever, if ever again. How can you be moonlighting? And I want you to think about this, guys, seriously, because sometimes you treat a lot of grassroots programs treat these kids as though you are property. That's my kid. That's my kid. Parents are proving, they are showing you that you don't own their kids. A parent have the right to mess it up for their kid, just like they have the right to go and seek out to do what's best for their kid. They have the right to do that. They're the parents. But what they're doing is, when you shut your program down, which it is great, I'm not against that at all. But if you shutting it down is one thing. But if you're telling the parents, hey, y'all, we ain't gonna play nowhere, y'all need to play nowhere, don't do this, that's giving you a recommendation. But if you do it in the form of an order, them parents are showing you with their own action, they going and playing somewhere else. Them ain't your kids. That's what I'm getting to. Now, on Saturday, Hatter, things climaxed. That was a team Select One. I don't know if you ever saw the team play. Select One.
Man, I don't know none of these teams, man.
That's right. You ain't been in no. No, but I thought maybe you might have watched one of the games on Baller TV or something. They got a couple of them. They got a couple of them kids from across that water, right? A couple 7-footers. All of them are supposed to be in the class of 2022, right? Been kicking butt all summer. What a short, fragmented summer, right? So it came down, whereas I happened to ask the coach a question, and Jeffrey Day happened to catch a video of me asking the coach a question as to why he won't play this certain team takeover. And the coach response ended up was on a local standpoint, went viral. Amongst the Texas grassroots community, it went viral among those boundaries. Right at 10,000 views, that's viral for locally in one day. So next thing you know, he didn't know it, but I had already put them on the schedule, made the adjustment. They played on Saturday afternoon. So they played highly anticipated showdown. Team Takeover was the underdog on paper, guys. Let's get this straight. But they came out and opened up a fresh can of whoopers. You guys up north, you might have to decipher what whoopers is. Whoop ass. Whoopers. That's what we call it down south. They was up by 20 and rolling after the game. Hell, I went to the other gym, other court, and I was watching some other. I did not realize that the coaches who already had some pre-existing animosity hadn't gotten to a brief little old quick thing. One coach put his hands on the other coach, and the other coach knocked the other coach, and he ended up getting his hands dirty. You know what they say when you get your hands dirty, huh? That means you got to get your ass off the floor. Get your hands dirty. That's one. Then on the next day, next morning, so no, we can pause right there. What you go? Come on, we got going to the top of the hour. We got to. They say you're on mute.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, let me start it back over. I said Jimmy was being. I was coughing. I didn't want y'all to hear it cough. Jimmy, I was. It seemed a little staged to me. The video. I'm just. You can help me. I'm just because it just so happened Jeffrey Data with a camera, and Jimmy Hicks sitting right there, and the coach passed by, and it just seemed something just wasn't right with it with Robert. You know, you got to understand. I'm a movie critic. I'm a skeptic. You know, I analyze everything, and it might have been organic, and it might have been spontaneous. It might have been, but I sit there and said, what the hell is this dude talking about? This dude said, I whoop every team they got, line every team they got up. And I know, Jimmy, you love that kind of stuff. So I said, Jimmy is that on. He had that. And then I look on social media, and the guy said, I'll donate $20,000 to charity if I lose. Have you donated that money yet?
No, he say if he lose to, he was calling out Aaron Harrison with the Houston Defenders. He say if he lose to the Defenders, he would put up 20 grand. He would donate it 20 grand if the Defenders can beat him.
But Jimmy, it just looked, and then people call me talking about it was some moms calling telling me, Robert, there was a fight. That dude, he said, hold up. But then I found out, Jimmy. And let me add to everybody out here, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all. I wasn't there. Y'all got to understand, I'm getting secondhand knowledge. But help me with this, y'all. Wise man told me, Robert, you got to learn how to win, and you got to learn how to lose. But the winning coach, they told me, left his bench and went over to the losing side's bench and cranked it up. And he didn't go over there. Jimmy, help me. He didn't go over there with no help. He came over there, and he might have knocked dude down, but it was some retaliation. Y'all tell me.
I mean, that's,
No, Jimmy, no. Don't just tell me it's an altercation. We want to hear about the altercation.
No, I mean, but Ken Lutz, he says he was 4 feet from it. He's on the YouTube feed right now, and he says that he slipped. Coach did not connect. He say if he did say he's a lie, and I was 4 feet from it. Now, me personally, I did not see that at all. I actually did not even know it had went down. I really didn't. I did not know. I was on the adjacent court. After the game was over, it was a gap. I just went over to start watching the other game. It was a good game. RL9 was playing over there.
Now let's get serious. What did that teach our kids this weekend? Those kids, parents paid money to get in. Their parents want their kids to get exposure. Not coaches, you're grown. Not trying to shame you. I'm trying to educate you. Because when I was coaching my son and his team, Jimmy, when I saw a video of the way I was acting and how animated I was.
You was buck wild.
No. I was just having fun. But
Shit,
I was
that was okay. That was
too
everybody say.
animated. I never swung at nobody. I never talked to another coach. I never talk stuff on Jimmy Hicks' Twitter. I never talk about I'm gonna whoop nobody behind. I never do this. I think, but see, you say you like smack talking, but shouldn't the smack talk come from the kids instead of the coaches?
No. For the most part, it can come from both ways. But as a coach, you have to, if you're gonna lay it all and write a blank check on your team, you have to be prepared. Nobody cared about who won or lost. The fact that the select one got blew out, got mercy ruled, that was painful.
So you said nobody cared who won and lost, and you did all that talking?
Let me tell you something. Before that game, there was about, I think, approximately 65 to 70 Division I schools that were watching that particular game by itself that I know of. 65 to 70 on Baller TV. That's more coaching. Hold on. That's a 16 and under game in a non-live period from two non-sneaker teams. That is very, very rare. So understand something. The marketing that was done to promote that game, people that didn't even know these teams was like, man, let me check this out. Who is this team they're talking about? This team got 2 7-footers?
So you saying that smack talk was marketing?
Yes. You didn't watch the wrestling match?
That smack talk didn't have nothing to do with the fight?
Understand?
I got a question.
They are already ready to fight a year ago. They already had a pre-existing relationship.
So you knowingly know that. And
no, I didn't know that. I didn't know that until that moment. Then you start connecting the dots backwards. No, I didn't know that. I didn't know it was that didn't have beef. But I knew it. I know it after you hear it, and then you connect the dots. So that, but once again, you don't just say on the kids. Those kids, the game was over. That Baller TV video is going off. That don't catch that. So that means the people that's watching the college coaches.
I'm not worried about the people that's watching. I'm talking about them young kids was in there. Them 16-year-old guys that's weak.
Have you ever seen, okay, fast forward to Saturday. Aaron Harrison was buck wild. Ready to hold on.
I'm talking about him too. I'm talking about him too.
Got kicked out the game. Told his team, let's go. Then Rick Nelson went and resolved the issue and overstepped the referees.
But I blame every parent who let their kids play in that program.
So that program ain't going nowhere. Because at the same time, when you let your kid go to play, you already know what comes with it because you know his fuse is short.
Last Thursday, I said, if some people in this business need to get the hell out of it. And I repeat it again today. If some people in this business, in this grassroots business, need to just dude, it's okay, bow out because this can't keep happening, man. Jimmy, I got a question. Did y'all search anybody before they came in that door? So that could have escalated into something bigger than it was.
Both of them had something in their car. Both of them had something in their car.
All I'm saying is, man,
had something in their car.
It's some people in this grassroots, people that been in this business for a long time, and all of y'all, man, I promise y'all, sometimes it's all right to just leave. It's all right because you're not doing good to this community. Jimmy, it's just my opinion. I've been around this stuff for a little while, and I'm watching, and I'm sitting there watching. Yeah, we got to go to a break, and I'm watching. But, dude, we can't keep doing the same things over and over. That means it's bad leadership. So everybody in leadership now, y'all need to just start, do me a favor, start finding a young guy that can take your place. And please tell him, don't follow those same principles you follow. Because this should never happen, Jimmy. This was a preventable incident. It should never, and I'm not going to condone it. Them guys shouldn't be fighting. Them guys shouldn't have been fighting. Them grown guys shouldn't be fighting.
That's not the only fight. Another team tried to.
I don't care how many fights it was. It shouldn't have been none.
It's different reasons. There was a guy last year that did something on social media, and I told you, when I see him, I don't know what I'm gonna do to him. Remember? That had nothing to do with the basketball event.
That ain't Jimmy. So Jimmy. Well, maybe I'm talking about you too. All of y'all with those mindsets need to get out.
Guess what? Guess what? You know what's happening? Know what's happening? It draws. You said you've never been in marketing. I've been selling stuff all my life.
Slow down.
I've been selling stuff all my life.
Jimmy, slow down.
Selling is selling if you got a good product.
Jimmy.
Now, if you got some bunk, then you can't sell nothing. That's just how life is. Let's do a quick break. We're coming back, our special guest. Hey, it's a chop shop.
Wow.
NBA players cannot be tone deaf. My NBA brothers, you cannot be tone deaf right now in this current environment. We all know the life that NBA players live. You are blessed. You get a chance to be in private planes. You get a chance to have millions of dollars in your bank account. You live a different level of life. But that is drastically different than what real, everyday working Americans are going through right now. Now, you're in a $1 billion bubble. If you want to complain about the anxieties you have from COVID-related issues, I get it. Complain about that. We all have the right to complain about that. But when I hear NBA guys complaining about living facilities, food that they have being delivered to them, it is tone deaf. It is tone deaf. I want you to think about people who are everyday working people who are making minimum wage, trying to make ends meet, that are going to factories, that are going to really harsh working environments, where if anything, maybe their employers are doing less to ensure their safety because they're trying to increase the bottom line. They're trying to earn and make money back from all the money that they've lost through the times that a lot of these states, individually governed, have been dealing with this issue. So when I see guys that are going into a $1 billion bubble, and are getting food delivered to them, they have beds to sleep in, you can't complain about that. Not while you're making millions of dollars, not while your employer is going through drastic measures to protect you while they're still paying you, when that's not the case for everyday, real working Americans. That bothers me. Now, I don't know if individual teams and their PRs, their PR team, public relations teams are working with these guys, but they have to. The league has to. Because some of this stuff just leaking out and guys just having a lot of free time and just posting this stuff, it's not the right look for the league right now. Not while they're trying to focus on finishing the season and allowing a lot of other players to earn the amount of money that they're able to earn. It's tone deaf. It's tone deaf.
Welcome back to the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks. Oh my God, it was awesome during the break, but we got it resolved. But let me tell you something, y'all. We got two special guests, and I am not gonna waste no more time. Jimmy, I'm gonna let you introduce these guests, because these two guests can tell you a little bit about summer basketball and grassroots basketball. Matter of fact, a lot about summer basketball and grassroots basketball. And Jimmy, I'll let you introduce our special guest today.
Yes, we have right here we have probably one of the most popular father-son duos in the history of scholastic and non-scholastic basketball. I mean, seriously, the father, he's legendary in what they call Sac Nasty, Saginaw, Michigan. Hatter, your folks up yonder. Hey, this one of them guys. Hey, he born and raised, suited and booted from up out of Saginaw. Hey, Hatter, home of the Pink Morris. I know you had a pair of them pink Marvins back in the day. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
they don't wear pink. They got gray. They got black. They got blue. We don't pink. We ain't wearing no pink.
Yours,
Well, Jimmy, it's not called pink. It's salmon. Now,
yeah,
continue.
you know too. Yours probably had the A and the R were backwards. You know, you had to wear them kind. Had the A and the R was backwards, where your toes turned green after you wear them things 4-5 hours. But this coach, understand, has put several guys in the NBA.
Yes.
Out of Saginaw High School. Some of you young people that's watching the Chop Shop, including guys like Draymond Green.
Yeah.
You know, I remember back in the days when I first started in the business, in the grassroots business, and he had the guy, they used to call him, nickname was Pepper. His name was Anthony Robinson.
Peeper.
People. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. And we talk about getting into that in a second. I remember that so, but he's legendary and royalty in Michigan. And not just Michigan, I'm sorry, around the country. Who's who of college coaches have basically solicited his favor to recruit his players, or the players within his program. And also his son, and that is, of course, we have Lou Dawkins, and of course his son, Christian Dawkins, who is, I mean, I'm going to give you a couple of names, adjectives that's been used by other people that I've spoken with in the past month to describe him. Mastermind, genius, legendary, entrepreneur. And these are just 4 of the names of adjectives that guys used to describe this young fella. He was the first teenager that we know of color to sign 2 NBA pros. You know, directly or indirectly. He's at the table. You got, you know, no matter who name on the damn agent sheet, you guys get what I'm talking about, signing. You know how this stuff go. He's the youngest ever to get a sneaker deal. That still stands up today, as of today. And with us today, we have Christian Dawkins, head coach Lou Dawkins. Hey man, guys, I know it's been one hell of a ride over the past 3 to 4 years, which for you guys, we see you guys still standing and looking strong. Welcome to the Chop Shop for both of you guys today. And
thank you very much.
Everything together for you guys, so getting the positions right.
Yeah.
So now, man, you guys, I mean, Coach Dawkins, first of all, tell us when did you start coaching at Saginaw? And tell us some of the alumni so that they can know, that way you can get it straight. You know, it's more than just Draymond and Anthony Robinson. Tell us about some of the players you had.
I started coaching there, I believe in the late 90s, and resigned from my post there in 2011. Some of the pros, both basketball and football, Draymond Green, Anthony Peeper Roberson, Darvin Ham, associated coach with Atlanta Hawks now, professional football players, Terry Jackson, Jerome Jackson, Lamar Woodley, Charles Rogers was the number 2 pick in 1998, I believe, to the Detroit Lions. Just several talented young men that came through that program.
And your son was in that program as well, right?
Yes,
exactly.
You didn't name, he ain't named you, Hank.
Thank you.
But,
Thank you.
You told me to name pros, professional.
You a pro?
Christian's a pro in a different area.
Okay, I got you. Okay, I got you. I like that.
In that world,
Okay.
the consumer.
I got you.
But there was several amount of other players that had great success that did not make the NBA or the NFL as well.
And so now, when speaking of Christian, when he was and got to high school, the coaches had been coming and making it your school an annual fixture among their recruiting trail for years before he came.
Yes.
Whose idea was it for him to befriend a lot of those coaches coming through the door Was it his on his own, or did you kind of see him over there and kind of like, Kirsten, let's keep him busy because I'm over here doing this. I might be on the phone, didn't want to go. Was it your organizing skills or thought, or did he do it on his own?
No, Christian took the initiative and did that on his own. I was basically getting everything ready, the gym setting ready for my college coach, for the college coaches to come in. Christian has always been intelligent. Whenever we traveled on the AAU circuit, Christian was reading sports books, but he was also reading USA Today, the Wall Street Journals at 10, 11 years old. So you're not going to find an ordinary young man reading a Wall Street Journal at that young of age. So he was just, he was amazing. I mean, when he was 16 years old, I've always been a Nike guy. My high school team was sponsored by Nike. Christian came up to my room one evening and said, "Dad, we're not wearing Nike anymore." And I'm like, "Dude, what are you talking about?" So he said, "Dad, first thing tomorrow morning, your secretary will have 2 contracts waiting for you from Under Armour, one for this particular year, upcoming season, and a different one for the next 5 years." So when I got there and looked at the contract, of course, I had to call Nike and tell them I was leaving them, and then we signed with Under Armour. So he did that at 16 years old. 16
years old. Chris, what was
Sure.
how did this Under Armour thing transpire? I mean, Under Armour came in the game kind of hard and heavy. I remember that now. I mean, but how was you able to get to that point without consulting with Dad and just putting it all together? Dad might have wanted might have wanted some more in product. You might have wanted unlimited product. Are you gonna work the numbers out?
That's what he got. That's why he left Nike. That's what he leaving out. It wasn't this is my son. He got a great deal from Under Armour. But no, it was, I don't know if y'all familiar with Tim McCormick.
Yes.
He used to play in the league. So Tim running the NBA camp. He happened to have a son playing AAU at the same time, this whole thing was happening. And basically Tim wanted to coach our 17U program, okay? In our AAU program. So basically Under Armour was trying to get into the business. They came to Tim because the NBA Top 100 camp was one of the neutral, non-sponsored events that got a lot of the top kids. They gave the UA deal to the NBA Top 100 camp. He basically told them, "Listen, if you guys are trying to get into high school basketball," because Under Armour initially wanted to sponsor high schools first because there's crowds at high school games. There's not crowds, obviously, like that at grassroots games. So they wanted to sponsor elite level high schools. Tim told them, "Listen, if you can give this guy a deal for his travel team, he might be able to flip Saginaw High from Nike to Under Armour," because at the time we were like the number 2 or 3 team in the country. So I knew what the Nike deal was, obviously, and I told Under Armour, like, get it to this number, because I knew if I got it to a certain level, there was nothing. My dad was basically going to have to take the deal. And I basically got them to put it on paper. And once he did it, we got the deal for the AAU team. And then we had the deal for the high school team as well. I had my deal, and then he had his deal at the high school.
Wow. How many years?
So that's how it went down.
How many years did that last, Chris?
I was with Under Armour like 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
The high school deal probably just ended, didn't it? That deal for the high school went on for a long time.
High school deal, probably just about 3 years ago is when Saginaw High lost the deal Under Armour.
Because I see some Nike
we were
check
one
on
of
your
the
shirt right now.
Yeah, we can tell it ended because his ass got a Nike check on that shirt now today. Yeah. So how did Tony Dorado? We had him on the Chop Shop about 2 weeks ago. Ironically, Tony Dorado with Nike over the high schools division. How did he react to your news that you were leaving?
He was crushed. He asked me to forward the transcript so he can compare the apples to the oranges. And he called me immediately back and said there was no way Nike could match that deal. Christian had set my deal up so sweet, in which, my players, and this is just the varsity team alone, each player probably had about 8, 9 pairs of shoes custom suited uniforms that symbolize the amount of state championships that we had currently won. We had duffel bags, backpacks, wristbands. We had everything that was known to basketball. And I'm the players, and we were changing uniforms at halftime. We had so many uniforms. It was
No, you ain't do that, did you?
Yeah, I did it one game.
Oh, that's flossing right there,
I like
man.
that, Coach.
That's what I'm talking.
I like that.
We were okay. My team was pretty good. We were okay.
But Coach, I'm sitting back. I'm just thinking about it. I'm looking. I follow the stock market a lot. I'm watching Under Armour stock just plummet, and their dividends, everything just plummeted, and really, the sales are down, and so some people tell me, well, look, it's easy for them to give all the product like that because don't nobody want it. What do you say to that? Because I never wore their product. I never wore their product before. So tell me, is it a good product? Because I know a lot of kids, I tried to give some to somebody and they wouldn't take it.
Well, their gear, their shirts and jogging suits were amazing during that time.
Okay.
But
Okay.
you have to rewind almost 10, 12, 15 years ago.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The shoes, the basketball shoes, they were just coming out, and their basketball shoes were not that good.
Gotcha.
But as time has went on, testing has probably quadrupled for the athletes with their shoes. So the basketball shoes are up to par today with Nike and Adidas, I believe.
Okay.
Now, Christian, you at the time, of course, that grassroots program, Dorian's Pride, and you guys, it wasn't just a program. You guys kicked a little ass out there on the scene, and the Under Armour scene. I've actually watched the team play a couple of times on the circuit, and now, as far as the grassroots power, and I have a good question for you, and that is, why don't more? Because I'm looking at what just happened I'm looking at what's happening around our society today. Basketball players galvanizing together and getting stuff done. Some of the football community galvanizing together. Of course, economics has a play in this, even with the Washington Redskins today. And that guy said he would never change his name. But back with grassroots, most of the players are black in basketball, especially in boys. Most of the coaches are black. Now, I don't know the percentage of the directors of the organizations. I haven't did a tally on that because it's changed over so much in the last 5 years. But why don't a lot of the black grassroots coaches understand their power, right, and work to help more black coaches become head coaches in the sport, in the collegiate ranks?
I think it goes back to what you just said. I think that sometimes we as a people don't understand our true value and the true leverage that we have. I was saying to somebody, and I'm not trying to be racist when I say this, but if you really think about it, if black people just said, listen, we're only going to exploit our talent or enter into deals for our talent or whatever, just with our own people, what will white people really have if you really think about it? Like in entertainment, whether it's movies or athletics or music, or if you look at the charts on the music right now, every song on the charts is all black music. Same with the top TV shows and films. Black Panther did billions. The athletes is not even close. So it's like, if we only did business with ourselves, we would own everything. It would be nothing to even discuss or talk about. But again, a lot of that too is the brainwashing. You had the NCAA coming in saying that, with the amateurism thing and creating that whole boundary, where if you think about it, the same thing that a powerful grassroots coach in Houston is doing is the same thing that, Texas Tech coach is doing, or whomever. They building a program, they went in and they reap the benefits of it. But in the grassroots level, it was like the stuff that is shady or the dealings were not above board or whatever the case may be. the perception of the grassroots coach and the perception of the white college coach is completely two different things, even though they're doing the same exact thing if you really think about it. And that's just the brainwashing. Like the NCAA is a multi-billion-dollar company, and they spent a lot of money to market this amateurism thing. Like this whole idea had to be pushed and driven into our minds for decades. I mean, think about it. Hicks, I'm pretty sure you think, even though you probably work for yourself, that you're underpaid. Hatter, I'm sure you felt like whoever you was working with, you were underpaid. We all feel like we should make more money. The NCAA convinced everybody that they should get nothing. And if you do, you're an awful human being. I mean, think about how insane that is when you really say it out loud. Like, I'm going to sign over my papers. I'm going to sign over my name, my image, and my likeness to you, just because I went to one grade up from high school. That doesn't even make sense when you really think about it. But again, we were brainwashed, and it's not just in athletics, almost in every entertainment industry. Our talent has been the complete prize asset. So the only way to get the talent is to try to figure out a way to divide and conquer. And white America and just corporate America and just big business has been able to do that for decades. Hopefully throughout this process, it changes and people start to really educate themselves on the big picture.
So do you think that black coaches are part of the hypocrisy for not speaking up on this issue before now?
I think that it's twofold. I think that not even so much speaking up, because it's one thing to speak, it's another thing to, if you're doing business, make sure that Kwanzaa getting a shot at your kid, or make sure that Shaka Smart has a shot at your kid. It's more than just saying we're going to support black coaches. It's another thing to actually, make sure that they're getting make sure they're getting the top kids. I mean, that's what it's going to come down to. So, I mean, they definitely all of us have to take ownership in of us being a part of the problem too. But I think a lot of that too comes from the standpoint of a lot of us don't understand business. So it's not even so much that we are all the way a part of the problem. It's not even having the knowledge or the vision to be able to see what's really happening. That's the bigger problem.
And Christian,
I mean, there was people who didn't even know that the NCAA was a nonprofit. There was people who didn't even know that they don't pay taxes on their money. Like there's people who we're in the business and really don't even understand the real game. So it's like if you're in the game and you don't even get how the game's played, then how could we ever really win if you really think about it?
That's an interesting dynamic, Christian, because I'm sitting up here thinking about this, right? Let's say you mentioned Shaka and you mentioned Kwanzaa, and I'm gonna mention Penny, because that's what that's my school. So what I would look at, Chris, but what about we got situations where we got two African American coaches on the staff that you really got a great relationship with, but the head coach is white. Should I not help those two brothers get players? You see that? That's an interesting situation right there. Should I not? Those two guys I got a relationship with. I don't have a relationship, but should I not help those two guys?
And I think, listen, at the end of the day, if that's the play, if you're saying, listen, my guy works for a white coach, whatever the case may be, I want to help my guy. I'm not saying that white coaches, are awful and they shouldn't be able to get players. All I'm saying is the same way we support them, we should also be looking at supporting our own.
Okay. Gotcha.
If you're pushing a kid or you're helping your guy on the staff, eventually that's what's going to put him in a position to get a head coaching job anyway.
Gotcha.
So all I'm saying is we need to actively understand and support and understand our power and our leverage. That kid, Mikey Williams, tweets out, I'm gonna look at HBCUs. The whole dynamic can change overnight. You know what I mean? The big fella maker, whether he goes to Howard or not. If that stuff starts to happen, man, and the economics that's going to the Big Ten can start to go to, that $25 million payout all those schools get every year starts to go to the HBCUs. I mean, stuff could really get interesting. But again, you've got to actually follow through with, and you actually have to go about and do the things that you're doing, and stop worrying about, oh, I got to go here because that's going to be my only way to get to the league. The NBA does not care what school you go to. That
They
matters
don't.
to them not at all.
Right.
But again, everybody, is still brainwashed to a certain extent. So I think, to your point, Hatter, helping is helping, and it's not always going to be perfect. It's way
Gotcha.
more complicated than what I'm saying. Obviously, it's more complex. It's probably
Yeah.
a dozen or so black head coaches at the major level anyway.
Yeah.
So it ain't that many to even really, if you was like completely support. But
Okay.
the cycle starts now. Support those assistant coaches. Support your guys at the mid-major level. Like, it
Okay.
can all of it will link up. And if everybody, if somebody knows, if an athletic director knows that Coach Bill or whatever at University of Houston is the plug to get the top kids in Houston, he may hire him at that smaller university or whatever the case may be.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, if you empower your brothers, I mean, at the end of the day, they're going to win, and we all will win it together. That to me is the real play.
Hey, Lou, I got one for Lou, Coach. Lou,
Yeah.
help me out with this one, because Kristen just mentioned the young guy, Mikey Williams. Mikey came in, and then Maker. But I've been seeing some HBCU alumnus on Twitter bash these kids, talking about, man, you just don't clout chase. Talking about you gonna go to a HBO. They feel those guys are clout chasing by mentioning they going to HBCU. And then hold on, check this out. When the Maker kid committed to him, guess what the guy texted me and said? It was one of the same guy. He'll never play a day in that university. Why are we so, why? Why, Lou? That's all I'm trying to say. I mean, and this is a guy that I didn't go to a predominantly black HBCU, but these are guys that going to HBCUs are doing most of the talking like this. Could you
Well,
explain? Huh?
to use the word Christian just used, brainwashed.
Okay.
Society says that we should not send our student athletes to HBCUs because of resources. But what people have to understand, when you have a top-notch football or basketball player enroll in Morehouse, enroll at Howard, and let's use Zion Williamson. If he would have made the decision to go to North Carolina A&T when he was an incoming freshman, ESPN, CBS, Fox Sports, Adidas, Nike, whoever that was originally signed with that school, the school that had that shoe endorsement, they would have made millions and millions and millions of dollars, because ESPN is not going to sit up here and say Zion Williams is the number one player in the country. We're not going to televise A&T games on TV. They would have televised 99% of North Carolina A&T games. Okay, Adidas or Nike or whoever would have gave that coach in that school $196 million shoe deal. Okay, and like Christian said earlier, okay, it doesn't make a difference what school you go to. The NBA is going to come get you. They will come snatch you. The difference is what you do as a student athlete is what you do when you get to that school. If you are putting in the work, okay, the pros will come get you. And what the regular people don't realize either, okay, student athletes, especially if you are a pro, okay, you only enroll there until second semester. Those kids aren't going to class second semester, okay? They have done what they were supposed to do. They have gotten qualified to remain eligible for second semester. I'm telling you from experience, them kids are not going to school. Do you think Coach K going to tell Zion Williams because he missed a math class that he's not playing against Carolina that night? No, he isn't. And as soon as that season is over with, okay, those dudes, those women, those guys, they're leaving campus and they go on training, okay? So that's what people do not understand. When those kids sign to go to that particular Division I school, they are there until soon as their basketball season has been completed or their football season has been completed, and they're out. What's the purpose of them staying in class? Because their ultimate goal Okay, until the rule will be changed until 2021, whenever it changes. Okay, it's for them to go there, put in work. If that takes 6 months, they're gonna be there for 6 months. They're not trying. They want a degree, but they're there to make millions of dollars for themselves and for their families. Traditional money that will supersede everything.
Jim.
Now this same topic, man, and before we get moved to the next topic, I want to pull up the mat on this, Christian. With the HBCU conversation, and of course Lou, of course, we're talking about a McDonald All-American candidate in the HBCU conversation. For those other viewers out there, and you're thinking, well, people do it, we're talking about straight out of high school, not the transfer. Straight out of high school, that's what we're seeing right now with interest. And of course, in 2020, one young man, a career maker, who committed to Howard about a week and a half ago. And the young kid, Mikey Williams, class of 2023, from out of San Diego, California, who sparked the conversation because of his national, his abundance of, how you just said, his social media influence, because he has 1 million plus followers. Mercury Maker did not. So Mercury Maker actually was on this conversation before, because he had actually took a visit back in the fall to them. So, but now my question is this.
During homecoming.
During homecoming. Now that'll get you every time. Especially one of them from across that water. They get over and see the.
Come on, Jerry. Stay focused.
They could just brought his ass to the halftime show, and he'd have been committed. He was done right then. But we know the history. But now, Christian, you are a basketball. I mean, we'll still call you because you're living. So you are an influencer, a basketball influencer. Even though you're off and you're working in a different sector right now, still have influence to this day. You may not know Mercury Maker or Thun Maker personally. May not. You had to play against one because Thun played on all 3 circuits when he played grassroots basketball. So everybody knew Thun Maker, and they knew Thun Maker without saying his name. They knew his person of influence. The same person of influence for Thun Maker is the same person of influence for Mercury Maker. And that person lives in Washington, D.C., right? Near Howard University. So you can connect the dots. It would take certain circumstances that would go outside of the normal circumference of recruiting. Reality. There you go. And that is, number one, you have to have a person that live in that city that has a connection that can afford to, that's willing to take care of you for another year and make you bite the bullet, and he can come home to his school right around the corner. Number two, you from an affluent family that don't need nor want money, because the bag will change your mind. What do you speak on that? So you saying that of all your days, you shaking your head.
No, I ain't never met no family that didn't want no money. No, I
was about to say.
I just ain't never met no family.
I ain't never heard of too much money.
Ain't nobody
ever said I got too much money. Never. I don't want no more money.
No.
So that's what I'm saying. So I mean, it'll take them type of circumstances which ain't part of reality.
Okay.
So now that means in your experience with players and bags, the reality of a kid of the McDonald All-American going to an HBCU based on, even though the stuff that has transpired since 2017 in your case and with Merle and the rest of the fellas, still bags are out there, but they're in different forms. Can you see it being reality? How can you see it transpire?
You're saying basically, at the end of the day, the kids might want to do it, but the money could influence them to go elsewhere, basically, is what you're saying?
That's what I'm asking of you. What's your thoughts?
Okay, so listen, I definitely think that one, to your point, there's no way that kids and families are going to stop getting paid, obviously. Like, that's just, it needs to happen. It has to happen. I think, though, too, with the NCAA allowing these rules to change where you can monetize your name, image, and likeness, at the end of the day, everybody can do everything. If you really think about it, if like they're gonna obviously the NCAA is gonna say this, you can't get benefits tied to recruiting, but like how can you? They can't stop that. People have private businesses. The NCAA, that's the thing the NCAA doesn't understand. Like they're not They are just an organization that puts on events. So it's like, how are you going to stop from Jim Hicks at, the University of Houston? How are you going to stop a booster from writing you on Instagram and giving you, money? How can they stop that? How are you even going to know that you're a booster? It's no way to enforce the rules. So it's like, at the end of the day, their final result is going to have to be, it's open game. And if it's open game, everybody can do everything. Like, it's going to move to the point, first of all, with the G League paying them dues, the NCAA is on notice right now.
Oh.
They either going to have to figure something out, or kids and parents are going to start. The NBA is going to, the G League is going to replace the basketball side of the NCAA, just because, again, the NBA can realistically invest billions into the kids, and then and then the G League can have those multi-billion-dollar TV deals that the NCAA is getting. So if it comes down to big bank take little bank, the NBA can definitely buy up the top kids and have them all being in the G League farm system if they really wanted to. So the NCAA is going to have to, at some point, open it all the way up. You can't do you can get paid halfway. It's no way you can halfway do that. It's going to have to be everybody can get paid. It is what it is. And that's how it should be anyway. And if everybody can get paid, one, people keep saying it's an unfair advantage for the top schools. The top schools pay the most money anyway. And two, the other schools who may not be partaking in those kind of activities right now, they definitely got people they can tap into if everything's above board. So I think that at the end of the day, to your point, is it unrealistic due to, the extra benefits that kids, really can evaluate the schools with lower resources? I think, honestly, every school has somebody with some money tied to it. Like, that's just what it is. Yeah, so I think with the way the rules are going, I think it's going to be better for everybody. And people are going to, really going to have real relationships, because this is what I tell people all the time. Everybody who's paying people has spent money and you didn't actually get the deal done. Paying money ain't always the thing that locks it in. It's most of the time you may take some, but you're going to take some from the person. You're going to take some and be in business with the person that you want to be in business with. That's just the bottom line. Because at the end of the day, nobody has no paperwork on no money. So it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to go tell somebody that you gave me this money? Ain't nothing you can do, really, if you think about it. So the players and the family,
they just told it on Zion. Kristen, they just told it on Zion.
Well, this is the thing. In this case, she's not saying that she gave him the money.
She's saying
that somebody else gave him the money. So if you was already not an amateur, it's no way I could have, took away your amateur status. That's what she's doing to try to win this case. But she's not coming out to herself and saying that she did it. She wouldn't do that. Right. So my point is, there's really no way to, unless you bring everything above board, there's no way for nobody to really monitor anything or to really, secure your investment. This ain't like a bank where you go in and like, yo, I'm about to give you 6% on this money, basically. So at the end of the day, I think that if the rules become open, I think it's better for everybody, and I think the HBCUs could benefit.
You just made me think of something, Chris. It's gonna be some undercover boosters, boosters that really wanted to pay but just was scared.
Now they coming out.
I know a couple of them. Robert,
yeah, we all know a couple.
I'm nervous. I don't want. Boy, when they can be able to pay,
but the NCAA is going to implement stipulations because disclosure.
How can you monitor it, Hicks?
How can you say you can't keep track of money?
No, they can't. No, they can't. They don't have the manpower to actually effectively monitor it. But that's why even with colleges, that's why they ask colleges to police themselves with a compliance person. They're going to basically let the kids know if you go and you receive the money, then you must disclose. That's what I'm saying. They're going to ask for disclosure.
Okay, so let me ask you this
You
question.
have
That's
to
fine.
remember,
That's fine.
you have to remember to the compliance officer, who that compliance officer worked for?
The
The
university.
school,
Yeah.
the AD, the coaches.
Well, let me say this to you, Hicks. Let's
What
say, for instance, if
What you got?
Big Blue Sports gives $50,000 to Jim Hicks, right?
Okay.
And you tell the university that Big Blue Sports gave me 50 grand for these 4 Instagram posts. And if Big Blue Sports is really a booster, how are you gonna know?
You're not going to know, but then there's the thing. They're going to take that recording of Big Blue Sports, it would go document it, and then now it's up to the compliance to go and find out and let you know if you are able to accept it or not. So you're going to disclose, according to my intel, it's not done yet, but the NCAA, before that deal is done, you would have to disclose it or the paperwork to your compliance for them to approve.
So let me ask you this, just logistically, right? Just again, I'm gonna use your word realistic. There's how many Division I athletes is it?
Oh man, it's 3. I'm talking about in basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about period.
Just period, football, basketball.
I don't know.
Oh,
10,000?
couple 100,000.
Thousands.
So let's say of the 100,000, 5,000 just happen to all get offers on the same week. Who gonna monitor that? Who's going to actually be able to go through every deal, vet every company? Like, no one's doing that. That's gonna cost way too much money, way too much manpower. Again, you can't say you can get paid and halfway do it. It's gonna have to be everybody can do whatever. Because listen, Hicks, you could have a deal with Big Blue Sports. If I want to set up my company where you don't know, where I don't put my name down on it, or I don't put whatever, you don't have to. There's numerous blind trusts and blind LLCs, and billionaires don't put their name down on stuff. So it's like, at the end of the day, there's no way to really prove or govern who these people really are. It's just not possible. So
Hey,
you
Chris.
have to do it in a way where, because think about it like this. What if Harvard said, I'm going to build the best team, and the 10 best Harvard graduates, who are probably worth collectively $100 billion, if they just wanted to just spend money or infuse capital through a startup or whatever, like, people raise money for new companies every single day. You can anybody can throw some money through a LLC, call it a company, and make a deal with a player, and then that's the deal to get them to go to the school. Trust me, there's no way to monitor it and this is the reason why the NCAA has always blocked them from getting paid, because if you do it, it's open. And the money's no longer going to go through the university, because why would I pay the university hundreds of millions of dollars when I really just want Zion to wear my stuff, or I really just want the quarterback to wear? I'm just going to go give him $1 million or $2 million. But you've seen, like, Under Armour just broke the deal with UCLA because it doesn't make sense to continue to give them those major deals. The schools in the NCAA been hustling everybody. The money they've been getting for the families and the kids, but it has to go to the school. So it's like, listen, man, it's either going to be they're going to have to go completely open game with it, or they're not going to be able to do it. And if they don't let the players get paid with all this information and stuff out there now, kids ain't going to keep going to school for free. It ain't going to happen. These kids know that they can get paid now. The moment all them players heard Will Wade's voice say whatever he said that was it. That was over. As soon as a kid knows, now that a kid knows, wait a minute, if he can get this, and I'm as good as him, what, I should be getting this, then you're going to have to do that from that moment forward. So it is what it is.
Lou, you got something, Lou? Lou.
Man, it's still a coach, man. Don't put Lou in that.
No, I thought he was trying to say something.
No, it's hard to follow that detailed information. But Christian is 200% correct. Right. But I'm going to roll back to the compliance office or the compliance director of that particular school. They work for that school. So I've seen personally inside of a courtroom in which the compliance director is up on the stand and lie for their particular school. And because they're getting paid by that school, okay? And they are also listening to move up in the college ranks as well. Okay, the same compliance director that's at that's on planet Pluto, they want to get to planet Mars. Okay, so everything works hand in hand. Don't think that this particular kid or this particular parent or this particular coach are doing things and they doing it for a reason. I'll take a contract for example. Okay, I got a boost and I was at a mid-major program. I got a boost in my salary because we as a basketball staff help control and help monitor our basketball team, in which the team accumulated was a 2.3 grade point average. You know, and mine was like $2,000 or $3,000. Imagine what a bigger school was doing. You take Dabo Swinney, for example, you know, incentives in their contracts. He has in his contract $100,000 bonus for his running back to go out there and get 1,000 yards. So what do you think that running back and Dabo Swinney gonna get that guy the ball every possession to get that 1,000 yards because he's getting $100,000 bonus. You know, so we all have to understand that these kids, these student athletes are playing. They're practicing 40 hours a week. Okay, supposed to do their schoolwork. They have to go to study hall. They have to do weight training. Okay, they have to be at coaches meetings. Okay, we have to prep for games, and they're not getting paid. They get tired.
Right.
They're working.
Right.
They're 40 hours a week. I'd have been on all sides from high school, college to and AAU. Okay, the ultimate goal of the coach is to win. Regardless of how or which way they do it, they better win, especially a black coach. Because if that black coach don't win in 3 years, it's curtains. The longevity between a white coach and a white coach may have 5 or 6 years. A black coach may get 2 to 3 years. Okay, so that's the difference. Go ahead.
You know, so you made me think about something just a minute ago. Because back up in the feed, there's a guy mentioned, Jimmy, you and Christian made me think about it a little bit too. When Matua Maker announced that he was going to Howard, one of Howard's famous alumni has been conspicuously quiet.
Oh, P. Diddy?
P. Diddy. Check this out. Maybe that's the deal. He ain't saying nothing about it. Okay, done. I mean, not done. I'm calling done. Matua. You go there, what his dude name? I got y'all. Don't y'all worry about nothing.
It ain't like that, Adam. You got to add something. Ain't no, I got y'all. Not tomorrow. You got to get them right now.
No. That's what I'm saying. For him to make that decision. Notice, Puffy, think about it, Chris. Puffy ain't said nothing. You're on mute, Christian. You're on mute. That's all right.
My bad.
That's all right.
I was gonna say, I don't know realistically what went down in the McCure Howard sweepstakes, but this is the thing that the reason why I was always so adamant or like wanting the players to receive the money is because, to me, if, let's just say, for instance, if those kids go to these schools and do make money, in my estimation, that's good for everybody. I want the families and the kids to get the money. It's like, I looked at it like, if there's billions of dollars going through those universities and not to the kids, that's billions of dollars that's not going through our inner cities and our communities, like our hoods. We can't afford not to have that money. We don't even have no money to begin with.
Right.
So for me, it's like, I don't know. I look at it like I don't know. My mindset is just completely different, because it all seems like it sounds great and that's the right thing, and it's better for everybody if those type of deals are the ones that are happening. If you are a famous booster of those schools and it's above board, listen, those things should be happening. It happens for listen, the best alums from the Ivy Leagues are going to recruit the best top kids and giving them internships at Google or whatever the case may be. What's the difference? It's an incentive to go to that university, or if it's an incentive for in the summer, if you go to USC or Stanford, those kind of schools, you're getting access to the best internships and the best summer jobs. It's the same thing if you really think about it. They use the alumni base for the reason for you to pay them $60,000, $70,000 a year. So it's the same thing for white people. It's just for us, it's like, oh, this is some secret shady deal. No, it should be completely above board. Give them more money. It's not that serious if you really think about it.
Hey,
But again, that goes to the point of everybody being brainwashed.
My favorite argument you had, and I might get it, this how I took it. You said, you mean I'm getting in trouble. Y'all charging me. All I'm doing is giving the money to the people that's supposed to have it and need it the most.
In the first place.
How in the hell? I said, boy, when you said, I said, wow.
Well, think about this, Hatter. They, when you have fraud cases, they usually do they fine you because you stole money when you defrauded someone.
Right.
They couldn't even fine me because I made no money. It was no money that was even flown through me. I was literally just like, yo, this is for you. Yeah. The whole thing.
Yeah.
So they couldn't even really give us a fine or whatever the case may be. If anything, they tied it to the scholarships of the kids. Basically, we got to pay back to the universities. But I wasn't making any money. My thing was, and listen, I wasn't doing it completely, as Santa Claus. My thing was, if I can negotiate you this deal when you're 17 going to college, you already know that I can do the job for you when it's time to sign, when you're going to professional.
Right.
So for me, as you know, Hatter, you ain't getting paid on a rookie deal when you sign a first round pick anyway.
Hello.
So you ain't making no money, no way. So I'm like, I might as well just show you I can get you paid. And when the time comes for you to go to school, it's an easy transition. We don't need no meetings and all them brochures and decks. Just, you already know what it is. And it worked.
I love it. I love it.
So now, Lou, speaking of, we touched on the topic of the documentary, The Scheme, and how to just cited one of the thoughts, one of the moments from in that documentary. Tell me two important things or topics that was probably omitted from the documentary when you watched the final product.
I remember during the first trial, I forget the judge's name, but he told everyone in the courtroom that these aren't federal crimes. And he was talking to the prosecution when he said those words. So my first thing that came to my mind is why we in the courtroom anyway, is if these were not federal crimes. Okay. But then he's going to come back and say, we were going to use Christian and Merlin to set an example. Okay. And you got to know as a parent, as a father, as a coach, that knows the system, that knows what's going on, that knows what's been going on. Because now let's not forget, in 7 years of being a varsity coach at Saginaw, I had close to 15 Division I basketball players in 7 years. I've seen it. I've been approached by it. Okay. So, it was hurtful to me for me to be sitting in that courtroom watching my son, seeing my son up there, and there wasn't anything that I could do. Okay. Because I know the system. Okay. And then second, Will Wade, when he came over the intercom speaking to Christian, the prosecutor, he sprinted to that computer so fast to turn that computer off so everyone in the courtroom would not be able to continue to hear that recording. Okay. And so I'm sitting there, and sitting right of me are the reporters. We all looking in there and with our mouths dropped, and said, then our lawyer told the judge, we really need to hear this recording. Everyone in here knows that Will Wade on a recording. The judge gonna tell everyone the head coaches are not, what word am I looking for? Are not relevant to the case. How can they not be relevant to the case? They're the main ones that's involved with the case. Okay. Then you have Will Wade and his AD probably an hour later have a press conference to tell everyone, told the world that Will Wade has never spoken to Christian in his life. And we in the courtroom and just heard the recording. So you got his AD and Will Wade come on telling the world. Okay, so the ADs, think about it. Like we were saying, everybody is involved. Everybody wants to make money. Just don't think the coaches are making money. Okay, the athletic directors are making money. The presidents of those schools are making money. Okay. The day, I think, if I'm correct, I think the day of Christian's convicted, when they convicted him, when they came back with the guilty pleas, guilty verdicts, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Kansas had just signed that same day $196 million shoe deal.
That's right.
The same day. Well, I'm in there confused. Okay. How can a school profit off these kids? Okay, making millions of dollars, and you got Christian giving kids money, black kids. Let me throw the word in there, black kids.
I love it.
From the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Okay, socioeconomic poor neighborhoods. Okay, now when those kids go to school, okay, do you know it's against the rules for the college coaches when we feed them to put cream cheese on a bagel?
Yes, sir. I saw that.
Cream cheese is considered an extra benefit. We can't even give them cream cheese on a bagel.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's stupid. Okay. And then over Christmas break, Thanksgiving, guys probably go home for 48 hours. And we don't play again for 2 more weeks. They have to be back on campus. Think about that.
Yeah.
So when I was in that courtroom, man, I was pissed off. I was crying, upset.
Right.
You know, and I've told Christian this 10,000 times before. I'm so proud of him. Because the day they convicted him, came back with the guilty verdicts. I'm in there crying, man. Like got my head down. I just want to just knock somebody out. Yeah. I don't care who it was. Christian comes up to me, wipe my face off. He's like, Dad, let's get the hell out of here. I got a meeting this evening at 6 o'clock with the president and CEO of Atlantic Records. I'm like, okay. You know, that's what I said. Okay, let's go. You know, that's the kind of mindset that he's always had. Because you got to think about, because at the time Chris got into the business, Christian was 20 years old. So we always asked, why Christian? I always said and told my family that this case here is the biggest racial conspiracy in sports history. Mm-hmm. The biggest racial conspiracy in sports history. Everybody at the top, white coaches, the middleman and the bottom man were all black. Okay. Every one of them black coaches got fired. Every one of them white coaches were able to keep their jobs. Every one of the black people, everyone, Merle Code and Christian was involved. They got prosecuted, and I will say this, Gatto that was involved with the situation, when they put up his tax returns, because automatically society says if you're an exec working at a Fortune 500 company, you're probably making $1 million or some dollars. Mm-hmm. This Gatto was making low 6 figures in the 100s. Mm-hmm. So they just used him as a token to say we cannot throw the race card in there. Okay. Think about it. You know, everybody involved, every black coach that was involved got fired. Christian and Merle got sent to prison. They have not won. We're appealing it right now. And everybody at the top were white. They weren't relevant to the case. Somebody asked me that question. They're not relevant to the. I till this day I still don't understand it.
Wow.
And you're speaking of the appeal. What's the status on the appeal right now?
So we had the oral argument maybe a month or two ago. We're just waiting on an update. It's not like a daily thing. You just kind of just get an update whenever you get it. So we just appealing and seeing what happens at this point.
And one of the things, even on the scheme, I was watching, and I remember when you were giving your recap about Merle, and and listening to the audio that was presented in the documentary, you were really, really fun. You and Merle appeared to be really fond of each other. And ironically, I spoke with Merle about a couple of weeks ago, and before we had booked you on the show. And Merle, ironically, is zero animosity. Normally with co-defendants, and you would think that, something, just looking at the case from afar, that you would get the Eddie Haskell jacket and he would be Leave the Beaver, or Merle in this situation, knowing
Yeah.
and D and everybody in South Carolina. But Merle, still two convictions, not one. You guys went to trial twice, and he still embraces the thought and speaks highly of you. That goes volumes. It's kind of like, not necessarily the movie Life, but Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence.
See, you're talking crazy. That's why you're talking crazy. That's why your microphone going out. Hey,
It's back. It's
yeah,
back
it's
now.
back now.
You
Yeah,
good? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, what I want to ask is, what happened during that case before trial?
Hmm.
Marty Blazer, if the SEC case didn't come to a close at that time, and you kind of found out about it around that time, according to your accounts in the documentary, you found out about it. You kind of knew that Marty Blazer had his issues with the SEC, right?
Not until we got to Vegas with when they have the coaches, the video of us with the coaches in Vegas.
Yeah.
Around that time is when when it was made public. When in the beginning, I didn't like Marty based off of. Okay, so we knew Marty through, Lamar Willie would donate money to our program. He was Lamar's financial advisor.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I knew him through that. I ended up getting a player who's in the NBA now. I brought Marty in to interview with him to be his financial advisor. In that meeting, Marty was awful. So I'm like, I didn't want to deal with him because he's stuttering and stuff. Like, he got me looking crazy because I done brought him in. And I didn't know that he was this bad. So I basically was like, I'm not dealing with him no more. And when he brought the money people to the table, I was like, fine. He just can't represent them on the financial side. Then the SEC stuff came out like that July or whatever, which was the reason in the meetings, I was at that point just like checking out. Like, I don't even want to do this, because if I'm having meetings with Marty Blazer in the room, people are going to think I'm co-signing Marty Blazer. So again, I'm frustrated. Like, these guys just have no understanding of the business. So I didn't know about Marty with the stealing money thing until basically the end of the investigation. Because now he was stealing money before, obviously,
Yeah.
but they kept it under seal so he could do what he was doing.
Exactly. So if they don't come to light, that's what, because I'm wondering, me personally, and I'm thinking
It could have got ugly. What you're about to say?
yes.
If it don't, listen, the two things had to happen for this thing not to get disgusting. One, Marty thing obviously became public, and that slowed some of his involvement down and putting stuff together. But two, when they discovered the agents were stealing money from the investigation, they had to put a stop on it. If they were to, I would assume that's why they put a stop on it. Had they let us continue and just been around, oh, it could have got disgusting. I'm not happy that it happened, but I am happy it stopped when it stopped, because it could have been a lot more people that were impacted, because I was dealing with a lot of people. I mean, it is what it is. And they didn't go through the recruitment like that year of who I would have had in the draft. I would have had a pretty good draft. So yeah, no, it definitely could have got really, really, really bad if Marty and them, they can't stop the investigation, because the investigation was just a couple months. It wasn't that long. You know what I mean? So If it would have went for a year or so, like how they would do a drug thing, yeah, it could have got really, really bad.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering because I was looking at the thing and I'm saying, hell, if he don't basically the guy Marty, he was working his time down
Coach,
from
I
that
know
case.
exactly
Correct.
who Marty Blaze is.
So they got to a point where they had got enough intel that they figured they had a case.
Correct.
And they just wanted nothing to walk his time. It wasn't like he was facing no damn life sentence. So
No.
he didn't have to do that much work to
No.
walk down. Otherwise, he wasn't facing 45 years, real years. He just needed to get a little bit to walk that thing down to a couple of months or some probation or whatever. And they got that and left it alone. And they realized, I think that, and they realized where the fire or the smoke was leading to. It was no way to keep going and push forward with that investigation without, as Lou you just mentioned, without going in indirectly or directly, it was going to burn a lot of white coaches and white head coaches. There's been no way to have kept them out of it.
And they listen, even at the extent that they went to, in a short couple months, they got all that information on those coaches. They just decided not to charge them. I mean, listen, like I said in the documentary, I got a lot of respect for Andy Miller, the guy I worked for. Everything ended kind of crazy, obviously, but they used our emails in trial against me. So if you're looking at the email and you see him as the person that's approving the money that's going out, and you're using that against me at trial, common sense tells you that you know that he's the one who financed everything. You got to remember, I was working for Andy. So I wasn't spending my own money doing all this stuff. You know what I mean? So if they have all the access to all that stuff, they had our bank records, they have everything. They just literally chose not to charge not to charge anybody but outside of us, really. Even with the Avenatti case, they have all the stuff on Nike guys. They've got stuff on. I mean, the coaches' calls weren't recorded by me. I didn't record none of them calls. So it's like, clearly they have all of that evidence. They just didn't charge these people. They charged Book instead of charging Sean, even though Sean's on the phone with Book. There's no way that Sean cannot be talking to Book if you hear him on the phone talking to him. But they just decided to charge Book instead of charging Sean. I mean, it is what it is.
So do you think that, looking back on it, because at the time when they offering everybody these deals, they offering you to, like for the four coaches, you got Book, you got Lamont, you got Tony Bland, and you got Chuck. Those are the four college coaches that you guys that are watching probably did not know or didn't remember. Do you think that looking back on it, the ones that had the white head coaches, do you think that those assistants like Book did the right thing, or should he have went on and gave up the game on his boss?
No, I think, listen, I ain't for nobody ever ratting. I think that's one of the most disgusting things a man can do. If you did it, you did it. It ain't. That's why I didn't tell him nobody. It's like TJ and all them up there, Brian Bowen daddy up there, just ratting on us. It's like I can't really describe to you the feeling I have for people who do that, because it's like, without that, they don't win those cases because they didn't have enough evidence. They had to. What they did was they took their word and used it as evidence, basically, against us. So, I think Book and them did the right thing for not telling their boss. Because think about it, man, we can't be two-faced. If a coach, and this is what I said in the documentary, I don't have no problem with none of them coaches for paying no players. I think that they all should be doing that. Right. So you can't say on one hand something that you think is okay. You're going to go put somebody and help the government put somebody in prison for doing what you think is okay. That's not right. And that was the reason why I never testified against anybody. I could have, everything that I have in my head, I could have used and not had to do no time, not even been charged. Marty Blazer got nothing. When these two got no probation, like the people who ratted got nothing. But it's like, at the end of the day, what is that going to help? What does that do? You taking people away from their family, you like Merlin them and booking them. Like, this ain't no easy thing to get through. Like, they got kids and families. Like, this is a major, major crisis in people's lives. I wasn't going to play a part of breaking up on that stuff just because I got in an unfortunate situation. I'll just figure it out.
But you also have to remember too that they had the recordings. So what's the purpose of snitching? They had the recordings on everyone. They just did not use those recordings because they chose not to. They
Because those
chose not
coaches
to
was on.
prosecute. They chose not to prosecute them high-profile white head
There you
coaches.
go.
The only
Gotcha.
reason.
I heard, and I don't know, I haven't confirmed it, but I heard that during the trial, uh, the judge declined the subpoena request for several head coaches, some you've mentioned already, and a couple of administrators within the NCAA. Do you think they were protecting the NCAA the whole while?
I mean, they literally, there had to be something, and I don't know what it is, but there's something that behind the scenes didn't add up. Because think about it, the original press conference was about having everybody's playbook and bringing everybody down. They went from that to literally, like you said, blocking people from being subpoenaed, and then after the trials, when the media wanted the tapes and because these are public universities, correct? So the information of their coaches and stuff is public record. They went to them to, Yahoo and ESPN went to subpoena the evidence. The judge then came back and sealed it and then said, listen, there could be stuff that could hurt people's reputations on these phone calls. So you went in like somebody like Book or Tony, take me out of it. These guys are coaches. They obviously have their own reputations. You're okay with them being charged and prosecuted and being sentenced to prison time, but you're not okay with the same person that they're on the phone with, their employer, with even the calls being made public. That doesn't make sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how could the calls being public be a bigger hit to their reputation and damaging than having multiple felony charges against you?
It's all about black and white. That's what it boils down to.
Now the media. Now while this trial was going on, and I was watching, I always pay attention to a lot of things, and I was watching how the media, the mainstream media, that is, how they were portraying the co-defendants during the cases, and how they were, and did it feel to you as though some of the people in the media, mainstream media, had maybe jumped the gun in basically throwing you guys out on the end of the diving board and making it seem like you had just done the worst thing in the world, and then once the trial came, and a lot of things that certain people were in the courtrooms, but I'm asking you, Lou, do you feel like some of the people in the media gave you guys probably didn't cover it fairly?
Yes, because when the media have stuff, they're not gonna come directly out with the truth and speak the truth because they have ratings themselves. They trying to get all the listeners to listen to their sports talk show, to their newscast. So maybe they did, maybe they didn't have the direct information, but I know for a fact I reached out to several people, several reporters from ESPN, Fox Sports, myself, to try to get them to help Christians speak the truth. What upsets me more than anything is that you have NBA players that's in the league today that was in the same situation 5, 6, 7 years ago receiving monies, and they didn't say anything. If the high-profile NBA players would have said something that this is how the game is being played, okay. So I've always been like this. Prosecution may have dropped the case, but they didn't say one word to try to help out. It seemed like they just went and hid underneath a rock. Now, Charles Barkley and Shaq on TNT during the NBA games, they were speaking the truth. But since they show is basically a comedy show, society probably just figured, Shaq was just faking that I received $200,000 for it. to attend LSU. This stuff has been going back for centuries, but what has happened, what has transpired through months and years, the athlete color has changed. Predominantly 100% players in college basketball, 100% players in playing football and in NBA and NFL. Okay. If this was reversed, if you had all these guys out here that were white playing running up and down the court and you have all black coaches, okay, it would have been okay. Okay, but since you had Christian and you had all these black athletes out there, it's a criminal law in which till this day, which is July, we still have not found why it's a criminal law. Only thing we know what happened, it was NCAA rule that was broken. Okay. So I would say yes to your question that they basically had already walked Christian and Merle off that pirate ship, walking that plank, blindfolded. Okay, and it was a prosecution job to push him over. Okay. But we had a terrific lawyer, okay, and Christian helped our lawyer doing some of the most majority of the investigative work on his behalf. We had a great lawyer, man. If it wasn't been for Stephen Haney to help Christian out, he probably would be sitting in prison today for giving some black males money, black student athletes.
Now, Christian, how much time, what was your actual sentence in both of the convictions? Oh, you mute.
You're on mute.
You're on mute, big fella.
So total sentence between the two cases was 18 months was my sentence. So
consecutive or concurrent?
Like basically 18 total. 1 6 month, 1 12 month.
So they stacked them.
Yeah, they stacked them. So that's what we're appealing now, basically, is those sentences and the conviction in general, but those sentences as well. And
Merle is on appeal with you guys with you as well. And now, got a good question. And Lou, you mentioned after that first conviction, you had a meeting that evening, Christian, with an interview.
Mm-hmm.
With Atlantic Records CEO, and your at that meeting, tell us how that went and what transpired after that. Because Dad didn't know about that meeting. That you had put that together. You always putting stuff together, man. Ain't letting your dad know nothing, man.
So basically, what happened was, let's say I got arrested September 2017. I have no money. I had to move back in with my people. My mom and dad, and I'm like, I gotta figure this out. I knew at the time, I'm like, I've done basketball my whole life, but I know how to manage talent, basically. At this time, the SoundCloud rap scene, or like the internet rap scene, was bubbling. I ended up finding an artist named Katil. He ends up blowing up to the point of like labels, blowing up amongst the like labels and stuff wanting to sign him. We were able to. I ended up signing them, and I ended up partnering with Alex Rifkin, who is the son of Steve Rifkin, who's a pretty big name in music. And we were like, we should just try to get our own label versus signing him to somebody else, basically. And we had offers from other people. It ended up being a situation where maybe like the first week or so of trial, I ended up getting an offer for a label deal from Atlantic. And we ended up having a break. The meeting when I got convicted, I basically wanted more money and more, everything on the deal. So that's what that meeting was about. I already had the offer in hand, but I basically wanted to improve the offer. So I wanted to have an in-person meeting, and that took place. Basically, it was scheduled to be, let's say, on a Thursday. The verdict was supposed to come back Monday or Tuesday. So basically, I'm on the clock because when you're trying to decide the verdict, they have you in there all day long from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So I was basically antsy because obviously I can't leave without the verdict being decided. But I know also can't not go to this meeting with Atlantic, you know, at 6 p.m. So basically the verdict came in like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and we was downtown New York. Atlantic is Times Square. So I'm like, we got to go now because I got to get over here on time. Because again, I had told Atlantic that my case wasn't going to mess up anything. You know, you can give me this deal. You can trust me. My case isn't going to alter anything. I got a team, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't want to be late for the meeting and I'm the one asking for more money and I'm using the case as an excuse. That would have, we getting off to the wrong start. So that's basically what ended up transpiring. And we had the meeting and everybody, you know, maybe a couple months later, we ended up finalizing the deal.
And your label is called, tell them again what your label is. And
my label's called Chosen. Our label's called Chosen Music. So we have a joint venture deal with Atlantic. So basically what that means is how I'm sure you've seen like Bad Boy Records or like Rockefeller, how they'll have their deal with Def Jam. It's the same kind of structure. We have our label, but our deal is with Atlantic.
And what kind of artists do you pursue? And who was your first signee? And what and tell us about that.
So Katil is like a hybrid, like hip hop, rapper, R&B. He was the first artist, so he signed to our label. We have
say his name again.
Katil, Kateel. We have a pop artist signed to our label as well, named Justice Carradine. And then we have a management division where we manage a female named Omeretta the Great. There's people in your area definitely know her. We just started working with an artist named Rumor. YouTube just named him their artist on the rise. So like our management division is strong and our label side is strong. So yeah, we're doing pretty decent right now.
And you guys are your company is based out of where?
LA.
You're based out of LA and getting that sunshine. Shout out to that guy Herb Baker. He has flew to LA. Him and Doug Smith and Sir Isaac Heron, they took a plane on this morning and they've landed in Los Angeles to just chill for a little while. And of course, little Herb Cannon Baker, I think, is with them as well. Shout out to those guys having safe travels over there. Mess around, don't y'all go on the wrong side of LA and we had to leave your ass over there in quarantine for about 14 days or so. And so now, Hatter, you had something real quick? You had no question?
No, I'm just enjoying the show, man. Keep on. Y'all going well. I'm just working the ones and twos over here to make sure everybody all right.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of taking you back to something that we skipped over, and I wanted to play, you know, back in like about 10, 11, 12 years ago, you were in high school, well, middle school, and started a scouting service. And that scouting service, college coaches paid for your intel. So stuff that a lot of the grown people around the country, not as many that are doing it today, was doing much less.
Yeah, 100%.
You start the scouting service and explain to us the concept on the power and the influence that comes with the scouting services and how and what makes a college subscribe to a lot, because a lot of parents or viewers right now watching, and so they really don't understand the gist of what goes into that and what purpose they serve. So yeah, break it down for us.
I mean, when I was doing it, to your point, it wasn't as many. Like now it's like 500 different services everywhere. Like it wasn't as many. I got into it because you guys, I'm sure you know the Michigan Mustangs. The guy who ran the Mustangs at the time,
Chris Greer.
Well, it wasn't Greer. It was Norm Olden. So
yeah,
Greer had already moved on. So Norm was running the program. He also was the editor for Michigan Preps, like the Rivals alternative in Michigan. So he has a real job. He needed help. So first I started helping him. Then I started doing a pretty good job for him. And then Vince Baldwin had Prep Spotlight. And Vince obviously has the Nike. Right, him and Stovall had press spotlight. So Vince has the Nike relationship at the top, well, still does, and Vince was like, I'll gear and stuff like that. So I'll pay you in gear. So obviously, I was like, yo, I'm gonna go over here and write prep spotlight. So I was doing that. Vince would give me Jordans and stuff, looked out for me, and then I was like, okay, I've learned enough. I went and started doing it my own. For me, it was like I'm around on the circuit anyway because one, I have the team, the travel team, and then the high school side. So pretty much, I was just covering everything that I was around anyway. So and then I had the relationship with the coaches. They were recruiting my program. So for somebody like myself, I had a good report, in my opinion. Obviously, I'm biased, but at the same time, I also had a team that everybody was trying to recruit. So it kind of is what it is. For other like just independent scouts, I mean, I think, in my opinion, some of these coaches, whether this is a good or a bad thing, are kind of lazy, and they kind of depend on the scouting services to a certain extent to kind of point them in the right direction of who's who. Because for the most part, sometimes they don't even know where to start. You know what I mean? And especially critical now in this COVID time. I mean, the scouting services are pretty much more powerful than ever because how else can people see people play? You know what I mean? So from parents and from a player's perspective, the scouting services definitely have a lot of influence for the coaches, and also some scouts like Vince Baldwin. NBA teams are consulting with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're to that level. So some NBA organizations also are involved because these guys on the grassroots level have all the information. So definitely parents and kids need to understand not just scouting services, but pretty much anybody that is around the scene could be questioned by a college coach and also by NBA team because they're gonna do their research. So you gotta everybody to a certain extent has a little bit of influence on the bigger picture if you really think about it.
And one of
If a kid comes from Houston and the Celtics call, I'm sure you've gotten these calls from teams before. If they call and they need some background and you say, listen, he might not be the guy or his mama XYZ or whatever, that's going to play a part in, it's a piece of data that they may use to make a decision.
Yeah, and that happens every day in all parts of the country. Somebody asked a question in our YouTube feed and said that if there was one thing, Christian, if there was one thing you could have done differently during the trial, what would it be?
Nothing. Listen. They had wiretaps and videos. It wasn't nothing I could do. It's hard for you to
Nothing.
when you see yourself on the camera. It's hard for you to say it ain't you. It wasn't nothing I could do.
But Chris, somebody just asked. He didn't ask it twice. I looked over him first, but I'm gonna go and give you a chance. He said, Hatter, he gonna tell me, Hatter, ask Christian about the ATM incident. What happened at the ATM?
Which one?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell he talking about.
Out in Vegas.
In Vegas, I guess. Did
Okay. Oh no. So basically, what that was my idea of the way the business should be ran was if you're gonna give me this budget to recruit with, I'm gonna allocate a good amount of it to the people that I'm signing. You know what I mean? Because that's the clients. That's what we're doing this for. They wanted me to pay the coaches because obviously the coaches, they were trying to create a case basically.
Gotcha.
I was like, listen, I'm gonna do a hybrid of my theory and their theory, and basically set up meetings with coaches, tell the coaches that what's happening, and we're gonna put the money on the table, and then they'll just give it back to me, and I'll put it back in the account. In my head, it wasn't me stealing the money because you got to remember, these people are my partners. The business account, they also can see. So in my head, I'm just taking the money, putting it back into the business account where it should be going as opposed to wasting it on whatever. So what the ATM was in Vegas, you can deposit cash in the ATM. So basically at the end of the night, I would take all the money, go down to the ATM, just put it back in the account. And I literally used those bank records to show like I wasn't trying to do this whole theory of me trying to pay the coaches and everything like that. that wasn't the model, because if that was the model, why would I be taking the money and putting it back into my bank account at the end of the day? That makes no sense. So that's what the ATM was for, basically, was just to show that, essentially.
Okay. These people
And
crazy.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I mean, a lot of people, you got to realize this is now, Lou. I mean, this has been one hell of a ordeal and experience, of course, to see your son go through this. And I want to commend you, for for being there, and and still being there as a father, especially during the time right now, black men and black youth and the fathership, need you guys more than ever. I want to also,
Jimmy,
I
I
want
just
to
want
also,
to add.
hold on, I want to also
Okay.
commend your wife,
Okay.
the mother. During that show, it's an old saying back in the street, she was like a G on that thing. I'm just saying, man, she slung a little snot on there, but she's supposed to. That had to come with it with being a mom. But she was like a G. She told you basically, hey, look here, my mom locked up, man. She was like, Negro, what you do? You kill somebody now? You rape somebody now? Negro, suck it up. You coming home?
Yeah.
I got you.
Bottom line.
You, baby. They get you. I got you. Come on in. I see you down there. Bun made. So I wanted to make sure let you know.
That was it, Jimmy.
Jimmy,
we was thinking the same way. I wanted to talk about the mom because she was a very, very strong figure, and we would be remiss without talking about her and tell her we said hi. She probably, I don't know if she listened in the background, but let her know let me tell you,
she chilling. She ran their ass off to California. She chilling right now.
Hey, the women on this show, because on Wednesday we got Women Rock Wednesday, so we got some powerful women on this show and support and listen to this show, and I know they said the same thing about her. So tell her thumbs up to mom. She's back.
Man, we we were gonna go to home plate with Christian because me and my wife is the strongest brain of this family, strongest mentally and physically. She don't let no one mess with her kids. We both. But we'd went to home plate with Christian. People don't even understand as a family what we've been through the last 12, 13 years. So we got a lot of love for each other, a lot of respect. And Chris is our firstborn. Oh. And we ain't gonna let nothing happen to Chris.
Right.
But Chris is a strong individual himself. But my wife, she's a tough one, man.
That's awesome,
Indeed, man.
That's
Indeed,
awesome.
man. We definitely, man. You know what? It's pretty much time to land that plane for the day. And one thing I told you, and I gave you guys a disclaimer. I say the Chop Shop, the time is gonna go so fast. We don't do interviews. We don't do pre-conversations. This is just like you in the music business, Christian. We've been freestyling for 2 hours.
Exactly.
That's what we do. We do this every Monday through Thursday. We straight freestyle, and we've had a long line of guests of distinguished guests that's been on the Chop Shop.
Yeah.
And so we want to definitely thank you guys. Hal, you had something?
No, and Christian, I don't know where you were, but your dad had a chance to hear it. He was listening to the first hour before you came on. So it's like we're in the barbershop. So I mean, and let me tell you something. You were prepared. If you go back on Facebook and on YouTube and go look at the comments, the people, you got the heartbeat of the people. The people, yes, go do your thing, Christian. Go do.
So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this before I go, because this is how small the world is, right? Okay. And I don't even know if the people of this show know about this, Hatter.
Okay.
So I first came to my dad and said, listen, I want to be a sports agent. He said to me, listen, I'm gonna introduce you to the only sports agent that I know. So he come back downstairs. He says, listen, I'm gonna take you to Detroit, and we're gonna go see Kevin Poston. He's from Saginaw, and he's from Saginaw, and he's a big agent. So I'm like, okay, great. So we go see Kevin, and he says to me, "Listen, can you get anything done?" I go, "Well, I guess. I don't know. Like, I think so. I think I can get these guys." And he basically broke it down to me and said, "Listen, I've been in this business a long time, and it ain't that many people who've ever been able to get anything done." He goes, "You know who's the best recruiter for me?" He said, "Of course," he says himself. He goes, "You know, I got one guy who's always been able to get stuff done for me. I don't know if you've ever heard of him." I said, "Who is he?" He said, "Robert Hatter, the only guy who's been able to really get some stuff done." I said, "Who did he get?" Yeah, Penny Hardaway. I was like, "Oh, that guy must be something else right there. He got you Penny."
No.
Robert Horry, all them dudes. So definitely the first name I've ever heard of like somebody who actually could close something was Robert Hatter. So that's a small world to be on the phone.
Very small world. And I told him his biggest problem is he never hooked me and you up together. And it would have made and we talked about it. I said, your biggest problem is I should have managed that situation. And he agreed. He really agreed with it.
I was with Steve Brown.
Hey, Chris, I'm gonna leave that one alone. Hey, Lou, what your mama say when you ain't got nothing? Just don't say. I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Chris, how had them bags?
Hey, listen, I don't know. Maybe they was just that good at getting stuff done. I don't know. Maybe they just had great meetings. They had great meetings and great.
Hey, Kristen. Hey, Jimmy, Kristen. They named a show after me, Kristen. It was on NBC. It's called The Closer. Hold up. If it was a mom making the decision, I had 100% success rate. I had 100% success because she
Lou,
knew.
You know what that means, don't you, Lou?
No. The mama knew that I was going to take care of son. Shut up, Jimmy. The mama knew I was going to take care of son. Hey, the mamas are hold up. The mamas are more hard to convince than men. The moms are something else, Doc.
Is the mama or the baby mama? Those are the only two on the day you need to worry about. If you don't got one of them, you ain't signing nobody.
Kristen, I can tell you it's over with on the show. Kristen, I went trying to get Allen Iverson a long time ago, right? So I pull up in Georgetown. I had my little rental car. I pull up in Georgetown lot because somebody had told me they was headed back from their trip. So I pull up in the lot. Guess who's sitting in the lot?
Who?
The baby mama. She was the baby mama.
Yeah.
So I went right at her. I said, hold up now. I got to get this guy. And John Thompson told Kevin, if I catch Robert on my campus again, I'm going to put his ass in jail.
Yeah.
And I said, why? He said, man, I said, let me tell you something. I told John Thompson, I said, look here, man. I'm not saying David Falk is not a good agent. Right. He might not be the best agent for Allen Iverson. So, of course, I got to come down here and get it done. So, I mean, Jimmy, this is crazy. I haven't told. Huh?
Did you take your ass back to Philly? Did you take your ass back over?
No, it was Georgetown. It was Georgetown.
I'm sorry, did you take your ass back to Georgetown?
Hell no, I wasn't going up there. I wasn't going up there messing around with them folks.
Hey, listen, that's the difference between, that's why I was good, because I could just blend in with the students. It was like, you ain't even going to have to know I'm back. I'm going to come back, but I'm just going to have on a Georgetown hoodie that day, and you're going to think I'm leaving science class.
Hey, man, that's a cool thing. And Lou, before we go, what players that you had that actually came and gave back to your program?
That's a good point.
Lamar.
I know it's not a whole lot, but I just want to give you a chance to acknowledge those guys who actually came back.
Lamar Woodley, Darvin Ham, and at the time, Draymond was still at Michigan State. I had already jumped to the college ranks when Draymond. Jason Richardson, even though I did not coach him, he went to my arch rival high school. He's supported my high school and my team. Just those three off the top of my head. Yeah. So,
man,
about our community. One thing about our community is small, but we all take care of each other.
Well, man, that's a good thing, man. Guys, man, we definitely appreciate it, man. As you guys out there, you've been enjoying yourself. We in double overtime right now on the Chop Shop as we do on a Monday of all days, my busiest day of the week. We want you guys, thanks so much. So
we got to get together, Christian.
For sure, sure, definitely.
Yeah, want to thank you guys so much, man, for taking out the time to conversate with us on this day, and thank you guys, the viewers, streaming on YouTube and Facebook simultaneously on the Chop Shop. You guys make sure you share the show if you hadn't done so already. For those that are on Facebook, a lot of you first-time viewers, go over to the YouTube page and subscribe to us. And that's simple. It's free. It's not we good. We don't need we don't need money for you to subscribe. So we're good on that. Just subscribe. It takes about 10 seconds to do so. We'll be back at you guys on tomorrow with some more stuff, special guests, continue some convo. We got a lot of news that's coming out of the bubble every minute. It seems like every hour something new. A Houston Rocket has broke the bubble protocol, so he's been placed in bubble jail for a week plus a day, and this is the craziest mess in the world. They knew it was going to happen, and but once again, guys,
Jimmy, that was fake news. They was talking about Montrezl Harrell had a girl trying to sneak a girl in. The girl came on Twitter and talking about Christian, I forgot the girl's name, talking about, I know this basketball gonna be over because I've been getting in the kid. That. You saw that, man.
Say, Big Doug, I saw that right there. Big Doug showed me that little girl. So she was faking?
No. Yes, no. It wasn't Montrez. It wasn't
but
Montrez.
It was Spotty.
It might have happened, but Montrez said, man, I wake up and they got me in trouble right now. And I made a call to the Clippers. It wasn't Montrez. Might have been somebody else.
Girl, Christian, you think that little girl was telling the truth?
Hey, listen, if y'all think, y'all all men too, you think you're going to be in a bubble for 90 days with nothing? What they going to do? They got to figure something out.
No, Christian, no, not 90 days. The loser's going to go home very soon, okay? The losers.
True. That is true.
They're going to go home and be with whoever they want to.
Team?
But
I'm talking about the winners.
Oh, the winners. After a while, you'll be able to fly certain people. I mean, you'll be able to, when those losers leave, it'll be more hotel rooms.
And they'll bring in the first round in your family.
You can bring in your action then.
Oh, okay. So he could have waited a couple weeks.
He could have waited, man.
Come on. I thought it was the whole 3 months nobody.
Nah.
I must have read it. Oh, then that's good. Yeah, that's
good. Oh, yeah. You'll be able to get a little action.
Anyway, man, we up out of here, man.
All right, good talking to y'all.
It's time to slide on down Dino's back and dabba do this thing for this Monday on the Chop Shop. We hope you guys enjoyed it, were entertained and informed about a lot of things. Of course, Lou Dawkins, Christian Dawkins. Hey, man, we appreciate you guys, man, and keep on pushing, both of you. We'll get you back on the Chop Shop. We talk some more and chop it up later on in a couple of
man.
All right, baby.
All
right. Peace, man. We up out of here.
Jim Hicks. I've had her. You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop.